Toll free in Dade and Broward. Now 560 on your cell phone. The opinions of Neil, his guests and callers do not necessarily represent those of the Weekly Broadcast Group, its staff, advertisers, or agencies. Now, here's Neil Rogers on 560 QAM.
Get Bush.
Now take you inside the governor's mansion in Tallahassee, Florida, where Governor Jeb Bush is seeing how things are progressing in the Bush counting room.
76, 77.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Governor. Good morning, Governor. Pay no attention to me. I just want to see how it's going there.
84.
Ooh, I hear it's going to be hot today, young man.
86.
1,927 degrees.
1,927, 928, 1929, 1930.
My wife's having a birthday there, buddy.
61, 62.
It's going to be 2,417.
2,418, 2,419.
How's it going over here? Yeah. Don't mind me. I'm just checking in.
41.
I don't want to be involved.
42.
Hey, I want to send you a birthday card.
44.
Are you still at 4012 Maple Lane?
4,013. 4,000.
Keep up the good work, everybody!
4,015. 4,000.
How's that hand job coming along, John? Oh, it's taking a little while. Hey, what did I tell you before I left? Didn't I say that when I got back it was going to still be going on? We'd pick up right where we left off? Didn't I say all of those things? You bet your sweet ass I did. And I got news for you. It's getting a little bit on the ponderous side, all this crap. Yeah, really ponderous. It's just exactly what I told you. They're trying to spin their way in. And they're just about, they got, it's kind of like when I go to Al Goldstein's apartment, you know, in Amsterdam. I got the key. It won't fit in the lock and it won't open the door, but you got the key out and you're about ready to stick it in. And they're at the door of the transition building there, which nobody wants to let them in. But they're there with the key and they're right about to stick it in somewhere. Rectum, you can almost feel it. You can almost smell it. And I noticed the ratings trend that came out. What day did this come out? I don't want to bug you while you got a mouthful of yesterday's crappy food. What day did this trend come out, this abortion come out? Late Wednesday. Late Wednesday. And this is a very good reflection of what happens every 4 years. I'm used to this. Not only did we take a big hit in September because the whole audience allegedly disappeared in one of those Arbitron months, but also in October because the Bush people all went, bye-bye. Now, do we give up? No, we don't. Bye-bye. Because all of a sudden, Rush has been on here, for about 100 years in this market? Never did a goddamn thing here, except from old people. Old, and not even that good, old. But all of a sudden, between 10 and 3, especially between noon and 3, you can depend on that, they all want to hear it, which is fine. People like to hear somebody say stuff that they agree with. So a lot of people abandon us for a while. They'll be back eventually, with their tail between their legs, just like all your Cuban friends. Which George tells me the exciting news that now he's the Antichrist. Before he was like, this may be like Chupacabra Jr., but now he's the official Antichrist because now the Spanish language radio stations have labeled him as part of the Neil Rogers homosexual agenda, or whatever the hell it is. You're the underling, or under something. As if they don't have enough important things to worry about. And how come it is that this kid that is being held over there in Cuba, now what is it? Is the mother that's over there with the kid? Yeah, and the father is over here and wants his son back over here. Are they making a big deal about that? No, they're too busy down there in Miami-Dade yelling, let us in! Let us in! It's not, you gotta understand, it's not a mob. Because we already know there is no mob. Is there such a thing as a mob? No, there is no mob. But let us in. George was pulled yesterday. What should Al Gore do? Kind of like Al Martino and The Godfather. What should I do? What should I do? Slap him up the side of the face. Maybe wake him up already. You see, one thing about these two candidates, they aren't any better now than they were before the election. Just like I told you, they both suck. And the only reason I voted for Gore and the only reason that I've been praying like crazy, praying to his way in there, is just to keep Bush out. Not because Gore's any good, because they both suck. All four of them suck. And what a surprise that Cheney had another heart attack. Oh, that's right, it was just like me. I thought I was having a Dick Cheney last week. That's going to be the new name. Anybody, anytime you have a little bit of heartburn, real bad gas.
It wasn't a heart attack. It was just chest pains.
No, just chest pains, yeah.
Blood test and
those doctors don't know nothing. Just ask George, he'll tell you. Not our George, but George W. Because he'd be smart. He's not like Fredo, he's smart. Can't you tell? So anyway, Sunday night we get home from the airport just in time to turn on, and there's Bush making his, hey, I am the president, we won speech. And even Chris Matthews, that right-wing goofball on MSNBC, that Nazi, that chubby Nazi in drag, I think he's going to elope with Russia is what I'm hearing. Even he comes on there and had to admit. that it was the most pale, ghostly performance in history. He looked like the deer in the headlights again there. He was trying to read it off the teleprompter, and he looked like he was scared schmittless to even let the words out of his mouth. Like, oh, I think we got in. I think we got in. And you also must keep in mind, isn't it fascinating what a genius Jeb Bush must be? That he was able to tell his brother that he won at 2:30 in the morning on election night? Out of 6 million plus votes in the state, we now have a difference allegedly of 537 in favor of W. And Jeb knew all along, don't sweat it, the fix is in. We got it. What a genius he must be. And of course, he's putting on this big act like, oh, well, he's recused himself. But if you read between the lines and you read some of the international newspapers, a lot of the articles that probably you weren't reading about here is that Jeb's been working real hard in the behind the scenes to do everything in his power to make sure that brother gets in. And, of course, we know that, you know what we ought to do for a poll today? We ought to find out who's got the best eyelashes. Is it really Katherine Harris or maybe Carol Gordon in Palm Beach? Huh? Let's save that poll for one day later on in the week if we can ever get this crap over with. Georgia's poll yesterday, what should Al Gore do? Take it to the limit, 502. Of course, keep in mind that all of our Bush people, pretty much, they're gone. Bye-bye. They're all waiting for, they got their radios on Dr. Lore now, waiting for it to warm up for a big fat rush. So they can hear him repeat the same tired old fascist crap that he's been spewing for years. All the same lies, all the same BS. All the same pure, unadulterated crap. I'm tickled to death that he finally, and he's been on here for 100 years, finally got a number. Of course, they're all old, but that's okay, and it's only a trend, and they'll be gone after the election is over, if it ever ends. Nice going there, Fatso. Finally made little inroads in this market. 502 said Gore should take it to the limit, 62.1%. 306 said he should throw in the towel. Throw it in. 37.8% out of 808 votes. Pretty heavy-duty toll, considering we supposedly have no audience. Anybody believe we have no audience?
No.
No, it's just that the Bush people being the honest people, you don't understand that. Just like Bush says, oh, he believes in people, although they do prefer machines to hand count because machines are more accurate. Are they more accurate? No. I mean, you talk about lying through their teeth. Everything is a lie. I got an article from the International Herald Tribune, which is reprinted to the New York Times service from this past Saturday, November 25th, which I'm going to read in a couple of minutes, to show you how full of crap James Baker and all these other fascists are about recounts and about dimpled ballots and all this other crap. Right there in Texas they had a recount. We're not talking about 100 years ago. We're talking about in this past election in the state of Texas. A hand recount. It was a hand job. That's right. They had a hand job in the state of Texas. And all the dimpled ballots, every one of them, by the way, which you'll hear in the article, every one of the dimpled ballots was counted. How do you like that?
Well, this ain't Texas.
All these things that they keep making jokes about dimpled ballots and pregnant chads and all this other crap.
It's unconstitutional.
And that fascist, James Baker was just on there. They have a new legal team now. Yeah, I think they're bringing in Johnny Cockring. I think they're bringing him in. Yeah, they got a new legal team to take on the boys. It's just, you gotta laugh at it. All you people are getting all whipped up into a frenzy. I'm beyond that point. And I was over there for 10 days in Amsterdam, but of course when you got your satellite dish and your CNN, CNBC, all this other crap, you can't get away from it. Every minute that you have the TV turned on there. They're even interrupting music videos now, and all of a sudden, hey, Bush got another vote, you know, and no matter, you can't get away from it. It's part of your body, everywhere you look. Here's our poll for today. Who should rightfully be the next president? Bush or Gore? Did you ask that question while I was gone?
No.
Okay, well, I think it's, this is just your opinion based on the election, the shenanigans, all of it, all these things. Who should rightfully be the next president, Bush or Gore? Pretty simple. And I brought back something really good besides drugs from Amsterdam. Well, these are drugs, actually. These are cough capsules. Not that I have a cough, although I did think I was having a Dick Cheney last week, or at least part of that. But at any rate, now it turned out I got reflux. Let's talk about Neil's latest disease. That's more exciting than, it's not really a disease. Reflux esophagitis. Yesterday I had that ultrasound of the heart. Did you ever have that done?
No.
That's the neatest thing ever. It's in full color. And you sit there on the screen and you watch the blood flowing in and out of the red it's flowing in, I guess, and the blue and back and forth.
That Electron computer thing or whatever?
Whatever the hell it is. It's great. And then she punches up a key on the keyboard on the computer, and now you see the heart waves, and you actually hear the heart beating and the blood going in up. What's that? The giant sucking sounds. But I did bring back retard capsules, which I thought would be very appropriate, not only for the management here at QAM, but also for the voters out there who can't seem to can't get away. Anyway, I want to read that article in a second. 10 minutes after 10 at 560 WQAM.
No portion of this program may be reproduced without the express written permission of WQAM Deeply Broadcast Group Incorporated.
Please, enough talking.
Tonight on Entertainment Tonight, George W., the election's over and... What the... George? George! The guy's drunk!
Absolutely. I had a little too much to drink.
He's drunk!
Jack Daniels.
That's tonight on Entertainment Tonight. Get him out of here!
Drinking all the time.
10:15 at 560 WQM. Happy Tuesday to you as the beat goes on. Maybe we can milk this for like another month or so. All right. Smooth Texas rally, dimples and all, is the headline in this article from the International Herald Tribune this past Saturday, November 25th. It says, State Law and Common Sense Guide a County's Trouble-Free Recount. On Monday morning, this meaning last Monday, county officials gathered on the second floor of the Smith County office building in Tyler, Texas, for a hand recount requested by Bill Hollowell, a Republican who had apparently lost his bid to unseat an incumbent state representative. Sheriff's deputies were posted outside the door. 8 Democrats and 8 Republicans broke into 4 groups at tables set up around a large room and began to go through the 11,121 computer cards one by one. By mid-afternoon, they were finished. 10 ballots on which voters had depressed but not punched out the paper squares or Chad had been added to the count, 3 for Mr. Hollowell and 7 for his Democratic opponent, Bob Glaze. There were no disagreements, no partisan bickering over the dimpled Chad. Mr. Hollowell's defeat was confirmed. It's very obvious when you see how they have invented it, said Doris Gunke, the deputy clerk in charge of elections in Smith County. Common sense just tells you that's the intent of the voter. While Florida elections officials have dragged through the courts of their disputes over what kind of dimples count and which kind do not count, the legislature in Texas has made it much easier to handle such recounts. A Texas law enacted in 1993 says that local election officials can count dimpled ballots, provided they reveal the intent of the voter. When we started this recount, the Secretary of State's office told us we'd have to use our own judgment about what the voter meant, said Larry Craig, a Republican, a county judge who worked with Bill Martin, a fellow Republican, on the recount of votes in Mr. Hollowell's race. Nationwide, the kind of guidance that is drawn from Texas law is rare amid the patchwork of tradition, regulation, and common law that governs the counting of votes. In California, a card that hasn't been fully punched can be recorded as a vote only if the Chad hangs by a single corner. In Ohio, where state courts have thrown out dimpled ballots, the Secretary of State has directed that Chads hanging by either one or two corners be counted as votes. The state of Washington lets each county make its own rules, and some differ in what they count, but Texas largely follows the rationale of some of the state courts that have spoken on the issue, such as those in Massachusetts and Illinois. In its decision Tuesday, the Florida Supreme Court did not establish any clear guidelines for judging dimpled ballots, although it cited approvingly a 1990 Illinois Supreme Court ruling that said the intentions of the voter should be given effect even if pieces of Chads were not completely dislodged. In Florida, Palm Beach County Circuit Court ordered the county's election board Wednesday to consider up to 2,000 indented ballots, ruling that the canvassing board could reject dimpled ballots only after seeking to determine the voter's intent. In Miami-Dade County, county officials had separated out thousands of dimpled ballots when they stopped the recount Wednesday. Texas officials contend that their law, adopted in 1993 before George W. became governor, sets a tough standard for dimpled Chads. It's a fairly high threshold, said Jeff Eubank, assistant to Republican Secretary of State Elton Bulmer, a Bush appointee. It has to be an ascertainable or measurable intent of the voter. Smith County officials had no trouble with that standard. Mr. Hollowell, who trailed Mr. Glaze by 2,000 votes, demanded a recount. Mr. Hollowell also exercised his statutory right to specify whether he wanted it by hand or by machine. The right given to candidates in the 1997 reform signed by Mr. Bush. There were no disagreements on any of them, Judge Craig said of the dimpled ballots. In fact, there were no dimpled ballots that were not counted. There were lots of folks there, Judge Craig said. On every one, it was real easy to say this was the voter's intent. Judge Craig said that even if there was no perforation, the dimpling would leave a gap in the pre-punched Chad that would allow a tiny bit of light through. The main ones we changed were ones you could see the light through, he said. Mr. Hollowell gained a handful of votes across the 3 counties that make up the district. End of article. How do you like that? And like I said before I left for vacation, the idea that this country, with all of our technology, is going to have elections with punch cards, with all the technology that we've got, where we have these touch screens in some states, or at least in parts of some states, in some counties, touch screens. And then after you make your selection, just like when you go to the bank with your ATM, is this what you really wanted? Yes. Then you go to the next screen. Instead of this cockamamie crap with butterfly ballots and dimpled chat and all of this other crap. And in the meantime, everybody's arguing about this like this makes sense. Does it make sense?
No.
Of course not. This is supposed to be so goddamn important. At least that's what they all keep telling us. This is so important. And in the meantime, and they also keep bellyaching about the fact that half or more people usually don't bother voting, even in presidential elections. And if there's anybody out there, I asked the question before I left for vacation, I'm not going to waste my time asking it again, but if there's anybody out there who really believes that we'll ever really know the true outcome of this election, you're whistling up your ass, okay? You're whistling in the dark. I mean, I think I got a pretty good idea. And I think the Bush people got a pretty good idea, too, and the Gore people got a pretty good idea. I think they all know that Gore won. He won the popular vote by over 300,000 votes, and he should have won the Electoral College by winning Florida. Otherwise, what would be the hysteria? Why do they keep stalling and delay the hand counts? If they wouldn't have been stalling and interfering in the hand counts, that could have been done days ago. And if Bush still would have been ahead, fine. You're in. Here's the keys. Have a nice time. Don't drink too much, especially while you're driving. And let me say it again, that one sentence from the article I just read, thousands of ballots in Miami-Dade County, dimpled ballots, not ballots just with no vote, undervote, overvote, no. We're talking about ballots that were dimpled, that were set aside, but never were counted because, among other things, David Leahy is a spineless coward and an asshole. Make no mistake about that.
At least.
At the very least. That's the kindest thing I can say about him. And, of course, we had a couple hundred votes in Palm Beach County, but they couldn't finish quite in time. And one of the reasons they didn't finish in time is because they kept doing counters interruptus. Oh, we're starting, we're stopping, we're thinking about it. Well, maybe we should go ahead, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we have to wait for somebody to pat us on the head and say, okay, it's going to be all right. If they just would have all started and kept going right on through, this would have been over a long time ago. And then what the hell would we do? Have to be talking about that Leon Jr., whatever that kid's name is. And, of course, it's the part of the spin game that they're loving now and that they're all talking about, the Republicans, is, well, you see these polls? The publics are getting impatient, and, of course, they're getting impatient for crying out loud because it's the freaking 28th of November. The election was 3 weeks ago today. And with the short attention span, I mean, let's face it, this isn't OJ. We had an insatiable appetite for that. We couldn't get enough of that. That could still be going on now. But for stuff like this, and especially when you're dealing with two of the most boring people in the history of politics, four of the most boring people in the history of politics, the public can't get really very excited about it. But we're supposed to, because this is supposed to be very, very important. All sorts of things are hinging on this. And I'll say it again, when you've got all this amazing technology, and when they're flushing money down the toilet like it's coming out of a faucet, I'm talking about our tax dollars, to think that they couldn't afford a few $1 billion to make sure that every state had state-of-the-art technology so that your vote really does count, instead of all this rhetoric about it really supposed to be counting, then I'd be impressed. But this is a joke. And, of course, they, just like another article I read right after the election, they love doing this. They love the paper ballots because this is the greatest way for hanky-panky. This makes it possible to fix elections. All these absentee ballots, all these phantom ballots. How about up there in, what the hell is that county? I never even heard of it. In Nassau County? I didn't even know we had a Nassau County in Florida. They did the manual recount, and they came up with 51 extra votes for Gore, and they said, nah, we don't like that number. We like the machine count better, so we'll turn that one in to our friend up there, the Secretary of Bush. How do you like that? Just arbitrarily. I mean, we know that we got 51 more votes for Gore here, but we'll go back and stick with the machine count.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
And these are the people who trust people, the Bush people. They trust people, but in this case, because it's not expedient for them, because they just make it up as they go along anyway, whatever's expedient for them on a given day, then they like machines better, even though it's proven that there's a 2 to 5% error rate in machine counts. And if you're going to declare a president based on a 1,000% of the vote in this state, then it would seem to me that accuracy is what we should be looking for. Isn't that what we're looking for?
No.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Here's a call in Aventura. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir?
I'm a first-time caller. It seems to me that this Elon case is what got Gore beat, because all the Cubans decided that because President Clinton sent the kid back to his father.
Sir, have a nice life, okay? Here's a guy that wants to talk about Alien again. See what I mean about you people? Most of you people shouldn't be allowed to vote in the first place. How smart do you have to be to punch a goddamn card? I mean, that's another issue here. Oh, yeah, the ballot was illegal, and yeah, there are a lot of dumb people, and you don't have to be a genius to exercise your right to vote. But how stupid is it possible to be? I mean, if you want to come up with reasons, how about Ralph Nader? There's 98,000 votes in Florida. How about Drew Lieberman, who blew up in Gore's face all over the South? And who knows, and of course right here in Florida, how many thousands of votes did Drew Lieberman cost as opposed to the ones that he gained? And what about all those thousands of absentee ballots from Israel? Did they show up? I don't think so, no. So don't give me a song and a dance about it. See, now I'm glad to hear this now. Now we got something we can really, that this town specializes in, because what it really boils down to is David Leahy and Dade County. And didn't I also say that? On election day, before the first vote was even, well, I guess I'd already voted, but before most of you had voted. I said, here's one time when your vote's going to make a difference because South Florida is going to decide this election. And a lot of people probably thought I was nuts. I was right on, had my thumb on it. And Dade County, as usual, can screw up a wet dream. Anything. I mean, you name it, and Dade County can do it. And here's a guy in Aventura wants to start screaming with the Cubans again. So I'm not going to participate. Call up one of the Spanish language radio stations and go like that. They'll know what you're talking about. Yeah. Start making guttural sounds. Because I'm nauseated with that crap. How about the illiterate people out there? I don't want to get into an ethnic thing here unless I'd be having to. But how about those illiterate people out there who can't read? Who all of a sudden turn out in these great numbers but couldn't cast their vote because they're too goddamn stupid? How about the elderly and the infirm who didn't goddamn punch the thing all the way through? Forget about the ones who were confused by the Buchanan thing, who thought they were voting for James Buchanan. Forget about them. I mean, we're talking about a lot of stupid goddamn people out there, if you ask me. It isn't rocket science. But it's the Cuban. In fact, we need Emmy Schaefer. It was Cubans! Cubans! And you know something? I saw on CNN that big scene, that mob they had in Dade County. All those people. And I didn't see any of them that looked, they were all screaming in English to me. Let us in! Let us in! None of them looked Cuban to me. And believe me, I can tell. Oh, yeah. That gamey, you know, that foreskin thing. Of course, I was watching over there in Amsterdam. It could have been just outside the window.
Floridians, dumb as dirt.
Say it again, sweetheart. Come on.
Floridians, dumb as dirt.
1031 at 560 WQM. So Miguel just brought me our total for Planned Parenthood. $60,880. Think that's pretty good? It's all right. Well, we got all of December to go yet, and a couple more days in November. You can go to your Specs stores all over South Florida, including over there on the West Coast, Naples and Fort Myers. Specs Music. Pick up the best of CDs and cassettes. Less than 100 keychains remain, I should point that out. Really? That's what it says here. Less than 100 keychains remain. And the only way you're going to get those is on our van hits when Miguel goes out in the QM van, or through our website, neilrogers.com or WQAM.com. If you care to go to that one, which I doubt, but I mean, you know, they like to get a couple extra hits on there. Huh? But do it. Let's get up over 100 grand, or we're going to be pretty goddamn embarrassed about this whole deal. Are any of these lines working today or not? Because I know line 5 is still out of operation, which I see is, what's that, been about 6 months? Yeah. Don't overwork these guys. Don't come back and start bitching. You got a nice check for being away for 10 days again. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Neil. I'm so depressed, my friend.
About what?
Oh, man. 9 days ago, I bet a large amount of money. The Dolphins Jets came, and the Dolphins lost because they stopped trying and they didn't play hard enough. And I want to recount. I want to sue them in court and make the judge...
Yeah, okay, great. You're a real genius, pal. Call up Rush, okay? Call up one of your Spanish-language radio stations. Everything is reduced to a ball game with people like this. Just like these assholes on there, even James Baker and these other idiots. Well, they want to change the rules of the ball game after the game is over. No, actually what it is that the Bush people want to declare the game is over in the 7th inning, or like in the top of the 9th. That's what it really boils down to. So your intelligence, your ingenuity just astonishes me. Helps me realize where I am, that my feet are back on Florida soil. Thank you for letting me know where I am. Thank you so much. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. The entire world is focused right here in South Florida. Palm Beach, Broward, and by the way, congratulations to Broward. They were a little slow getting their act together, but once they did, they finally said, okay, I guess we were supposed to go ahead and count these. They did, they got it done. That was it, all over, finito, here you go, here's the right number. How you like that? So even though people are every now and then picking on us in Broward, because there's a lot of old people up in Broward, believe me, including me, but the fact is, at least we got it done. Huh? But Palm Beach and Dade County, that's the chigger in the woodpile right there. Okay, let's see if we get a real call here yet. Poll, who should rightfully be next president? Gore 43, Bush 17 out of 60 so far. But that's his crowd, because the Bush people are all over there waiting for their radios to heat up for Rush. I'm going to start doing that every day. And then those people will start putting this down in their diaries again because they won't be so pissed off if we just go, it makes sounds like that. Yeah, and then maybe play some of that music they like. Yeah, something they can relate to. Here's Pembroke Pines. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Listen, I just came with an idea since the Republicans are trying to make Bush look like he was a communist. I'm a Vietnam vet. And I hate to see it when people use the military.
The Republicans are trying to make Bush feel like he's a communist?
Yes. That's what I mean, that Bush is trying to make Al Gore look like he's a communist with his military vote. I was in the military vote, in the Marine Corps, and I know damn well that if you don't sign your name and if it's not posted, it is illegal.
This was the directive from the Secretary of Bush herself, Katherine Harrison Tallahassee.
Yeah, but they're trying to put the blame at Al Gore.
Sir, but let me say it again. Nobody with an IQ larger than their thumbnail can believe that, because the Secretary of State, who the Bush people believe when it's expedient, she's the one that sent the directive to every county in this state that if an overseas ballot had no postmark, it was not to be counted. That was her directive.
Yes, but they're pointing the finger at Al Gore, making him look like he's
yes,
the
sir.
one.
Thank you for repeating it the 4th time. Thank you. 567-0560. Good God Almighty, this is unbelievable. What does this say? Political consultant Herman Echeverria approached Mayor Penis to see if he might talk to the canvassing board last Wednesday. Well, that's great. Yeah, we have a lot of right-wingers masquerading as Democrats because it's a Southern thing. I don't know what you're all getting so whipped up to a frenzy about because, like I said, they all suck anyway. All 4 of them, including that mealy-mouthed Jew Lieberman. And if there's anybody who thinks in hindsight now, although I said it ahead of time, see, it's easier to say it when the deal is all over with. Anybody can have hindsight. It's always at least 20/40. But anybody who thinks that putting Jew Lieberman on the ballot was a positive for the Gore people, that probably by itself could have cost them the election. The under-the-surface anti-Semitic vote, believe me, it's out there, especially in the South and all over here in Florida. Plenty of places in Florida. Too many Graham. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil, what's up, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Glad you're back. Swaps in Miami. Listen, spy report. I got a hats off to Bishop Curry. Mayor Pena Pequena was just on the show. He hemmed him up so far in the wall he couldn't breathe. He had to cut the interview short because he couldn't answer none of the questions.
Yeah.
Then yesterday they had Pat Leahy on there, asking him about
Pat
the law.
Leahy?
Pat, the dickhead, if you ask me.
David Leahy.
Listen, or David Leahy, whoever he is. Listen, Neil, if that would have been a group of swats of bum rushing the 18th floor, we'd have been on death row right now.
In Texas, probably, yeah.
In Texas, on death row right now.
You'd be getting the needle right now, whether you wanted it or not.
But a room full of crackers going to storm the room and tell them to stop voting. I'm pissed off, man. I'm ready to shoot me somebody, bro. All right, later, man. Okay, well, just let me give you one piece of advice, pal, before you go off the deep end. Shoot them in the leg.
Okay? Okay, calm down. At least we got somebody that's fired up and pissed off out there. Some Schwarzer, he's all whipped up into a frenzy. I wonder if they got all that crazy before or after Al Sharpton showed up. Yeah, we got Jesse down here. We got Al Sharpton down here. We got James Baker here. We got every agent provocateur that ever was born is right down here. The hotbed of incompetence, of crap. That's what this state specializes in. Whether it's alien, well, you name it, we got it. We got a never-ending supply. Just open up the window. Just take one quick sniff and you'll smell it.
Crap.
Yeah. And you'll know where you are. 21 before 11 at 560 WQA.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560. QAM.
Thank you, Bernie. I'm Biff Kugel, live in Palm Beach County for CNN. Talking with residents who believe they should be allowed to vote again. What is your name, sir?
Asparagus.
Right. So you believe you should vote again?
Which is Arkansas.
Excuse me?
Colin Coolidge.
Let's talk to this woman. Ma'am, what is your age?
146.
Ma'am, do you actually believe you're 146 years old?
I voted for Hubert Humphrey.
And how about you, sir?
I still have sex, and I peed my pants.
Yeah, what about the election?
I already told you, I still have sex.
There you have it, Wolf. Residents in Palm Beach County, Florida, have some pretty strong ideas about this election. Thank you.
Okay, 1043 at 560 WQAM 5670560 pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. I got something somebody faxed me, at least one page of it anyway, which makes a lot of sense. It says the majority of Americans were united throughout the dreary election cycle by a lack of enthusiasm for either candidate. On Election Day, half the population that chose not to vote expressed its wishes at least as clearly as the half that did. When the results are finalized, the lesson the pundits and politicians will inevitably and absurdly tout is that despite the need for a few technical fixes, the system worked. A more sane conclusion would be that it didn't work and that we need to scrap the Electoral College, publicly finance campaigns, give free airtime to all candidates, and disenfranchise corporations.
Oh!
Yeah, there you go. Pile of crap. The whole thing was just a big, gigantic farce. And here, my luck, first time in years I waste my time voting. I could have slept an extra half hour on Election Day. And then there are going to be those people who say, oh, yeah, but, as close as it was, your one vote could have made the difference. Right. They just don't understand. The fix was in before any votes were counted. Here's a mobile in West Palm Beach. Hello. Mobile in West Palm. Oh, they must be still trying to find which hole to stick it in. Here's a lady mobile in Cooper City. Hello.
Hey there.
Yes, ma'am.
I have something to say about this election.
Yes?
Those votes would have been counted in West Palm Beach and Miami-Dade if the Bush campaign and Katherine Harris hadn't filed lawsuits and put up hurdles and thrown fits and tantrums and done everything in their power to make sure those votes were not counted.
They kept delaying it until the obvious deadline, and then she kept making arbitrary additional deadlines, like just out of nowhere. Well, you have 2 o'clock tomorrow to send me those letters.
George W. Bush knows that those votes are counted. The obvious winner of this state is Al Gore.
Right.
And he did everything in his power to make sure the people's voice was heard. And I'm sick and tired of these polls. Nobody's called me and asked me whether I think the election's over or not.
Okay. Good luck to
So
us,
that's
Peter.
how I feel about it. George W. Bush stole the state of Florida.
He stole it
and
fair and
the
square.
reason why he's running towards this transition team is because the inevitable is going to happen. These votes are going to get counted, and he's going to be stopped in his tracks.
Okay, well, cross your fingers and your legs. Always a good idea, at least the last part. 5670560 pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Our poll, 84 votes. Who should rightfully be the next president, in your opinion, based on all of the events, all of these things? Gore 62, Bush 22, 74% to 26%. How do you like that? Of course, that's our heavy Gore audience. And then, of course, we have some emotional cripples out there, some weaklings who are caving in and saying, well, Bush won it, just give it to him, it's all over. Okay. I mean, if you feel that strongly about it, then why did you bother voting in the first place? And if you're really that ignorant and that stupid and that easily swayed by the spin doctors of the far right, the spin machine. Even your goddamn washing machine don't spin it as hard as these Republicans have been spinning everything. As they try to pirouette and spin their way in through the White House door. I'm surprised. Forget about the key to that goddamn, the transition team office. Forget about that. I'm surprised they're not trying to knock down the doors of the White House. Here's a call from Sanford. Hello.
Yeah, Neil. Don't give them any ideas. You know, they will be knocking them down. The machine count, that was all right with the Bush folks because, you know, if they were behind a couple hundred votes, hand counts would be the next best thing since sliced bread.
They would have said, look, we have hand counts in Texas and it works just great,
right.
And why don't you like those?
Right.
So like I said, whatever is expedient for them to end the thing as quickly as possible so long as they're ahead and to avoid counting votes that they're pretty sure are going to go the other way, then that's good. That's great.
Right, and there were 6 Republican counties in Florida that were hand counted.
That is correct.
And that was good too.
That was fine.
But anyway, the Seminole County...
And it was also fine in Nassau County when they did the hand count, and they had 51 extra votes for Gore, and they said, we don't think so, we'll go back to the machine count. That was fine, too.
Well, actually, that was the automatic machine recount that gave Gore 52 more votes, and they said, forget it, we want that original count from election night.
We like the first numbers better.
That was better. Mm-hmm. The Seminole County case with the 4,700 illegal absentee ballots, I guess you all have heard, has been moved to Leon County. And that's supposed to be heard, I guess, today.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Andre Fidel lawsuit in Palm Beach County for the revote is also going to be heard by the Florida Supreme Court. So don't be surprised if the Florida Supreme Court does say revote.
Well, you know something?
Palm Beach County.
I said to George before the show, and I've been talking to other people about this, the Bush people may really want to be, in fact, they're probably thinking about it right now. Maybe they shouldn't have been quite so harsh in their comments about the Florida Supreme Court, about how they rewrote the law and changed the rules in the middle of the game and did all these other things, because they just trashed the Florida Supreme Court and these great states' rights people. And now all of a sudden that the issue of the revote is in the Florida Supreme Court, they may wind up getting theirs.
Well, it's only up to us and the Lord above and Cruella de Vil lives.
Okay.
Bye.
The Lord above.
Yeah, God.
Yeah, God.
Okay, sorry. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. We're going to have a plague of locusts. The Lord is so pissed off. Even though He's a loving God, we're going to have a plague of locusts because He's so pissed off about all of these things. You watch. You mark my words, man.
We've already had the boil and the heart attack.
You know, that's right. I thought I was having a Dick Cheney myself. There was a squirrel ran across the screen on the outside of the town, the outside, thank God, of my patio this morning, and my dogs ran out there, were screaming and yelling. I think that was a sign. No, what are you laughing about? There was a goddamn squirrel. And my dogs were out there trying to grab his nuts. And that's a sign from God that this is just the beginning. You ain't seen nothing yet. Wait until you open up your goddamn window on a nice fall day like this, thinking you're going to air the house out, and all of a sudden, a plague of locusts, millions of them comes flying in there. Because this Lord above that you crazy people out there keep talking about, this caca, this nonsense, this wrathful, hateful, His wrath is waxing hot, just like my heartburn. Oh, God. Well, I feel better now. Well, that's a good piece of advice. When you have that little agita, you know, and your body's just filled with all that gas. Thursday night, I'm laying there in bed. This is the night after I had that, like, bullet in the heart feeling, and it wasn't really my heart. I'm laying there in bed, and I said to myself, I'm getting every bit of gas, seriously, out of this old body, and I got up Thursday morning, next morning, I felt great. When in doubt, it out. I'm telling you right now. Because God also invented that. Here's a lady in Boca. Hello.
Hello, is that me?
And He invented that aroma that goes with it. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. I would like you to tell your listeners that tomorrow in Boca Raton at 6:30 at the...
wait a minute. Wait. Is this some rally you're having?
Yeah, this...
Okay. I'm not playing that game. We don't want no potluck suppers. I will not participate in any more rallies, any more civil disobedience, civil obedience. I'm sick of that. I'm tired of it. You know, and next thing they'll be bussing in people with Gore and Lieberman. You know, first we had Sora Loserman placards, and now it'll be Gore Lieberman, the original ones again. They're all bussing in their agitators. Cut the crap already, will you? Well, what's the point? Every damn court in this state is busy right now. The judges don't have time to go take a crap. They're so busy. It's in the courts where it'll be resolved, for right or wrong or whatever. But that's what's going to happen. And all your rallies and all your potchking around and all your screaming isn't going to do a bit of good. It's not going to do a single bit of good. Keep you off the streets, I guess. But you think with the holidays coming up, you'd have better things to be doing right now. In addition to which, the retail people out there don't want you wasting your time with that crap. You're supposed to be spending your money right now. Let's get that economy going, goddammit. I see the NASDAQ's taking another nice crap today. Which, see, my philosophy now is, fine, let it go down to 2,000. I don't care. That's when you move in like a vulture and you gobble it all up. And then you watch it go down to about 1,200. And that asshole out there, all these experts, everybody's an expert. Remember the guy who was telling me about Citrix? And how it's up to it was actually up to 31 one day. Now it's about 28. It's hanging in there. But I think it's making a little bit of a comeback. If it ever gets close to 40, you just wait and see how fast I sell that crap. I mean, that good Fort Lauderdale.
You bought it at what, 70?
150. 300. Hey, that Mitch Hirsch man, does he know it, huh?
No.
He don't know crap. He has nothing. He hasn't got a clue on anything. Then, of course, there's always Rimmer with that Xerox, $7.25. I hear that some oil baron has just bought up 30 million shares of Xerox. I'm gagging on it just thinking about it. You know something? I think we have a sick building here. Well, I'm gagging.
It's actually an old building.
Huh?
This is not a fresh new building.
No. Stale. We need to get like some of that air, at least your incense.
Sure, yeah, I can do that.
It's smarmy in here. It really is bad. You can almost see the haze. Mobile in North Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Nobody's talking about the real subject here. Who's to blame for all this mess that we're in right now?
Yeah, and who's that?
Ralph Nader.
Yeah.
The man hadn't gotten in, and we wouldn't have to be recounting votes.
No, okay, great. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT. I think the guy that called before, the first guy in Aventura, was right about the Cubans. I think he had a good point. Here's Coral Springs. Hello.
Yes, hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back from the Netherlands.
Uh-huh.
George did a great job.
Yes, he did.
Yeoman's work.
The what?
He did yeoman's work.
Uh-huh.
Listen, did you see the article in the Wall Street Journal yesterday about...
I don't read the Wall Street Journal. It's a right-wing rag.
Okay, well, they came out with a story that said that the people that were there in Miami rioting inside the building when they called off the count were brought there by Tom DeLay with funds paid for by the Bush campaign.
Right, they were bussed in. They had all the placards or all the...
But they were paid by the Bush campaign.
Right, they were a professional agent provocateur en guerre.
Well, I think it's against the law to disrupt an election process.
Well, don't confuse people with the facts. They stole it fair and square. Don't you understand that, sir? When you go
I think they got caught, though.
They stole it fair and square, man.
Well, I think you're watching them in the process of being caught.
Yeah.
I mean, if Gore would have conceded on, election night, they probably could have claimed they stole it fair and square.
Well, they gave it their best shot, and that's why W said, hey, my brother told me I won Florida. How come you're not conceding? How come you're changing your mind? My brother told me I won.
Yeah.
And he's got his thumb on it.
Well, as Al Gore said, your brother isn't the final decision maker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's hope that the courts do the right thing.
Okay.
All right, Neil?
Cross your fingers, sir.
On my legs.
Say a bracha. Okay, he's on his knees. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm ready for this to be over. Oh, here's Jesse.
If the sheriff
from the Rainbow Coalition.
Stopping people and asking them for their voter registration, of their ID, of their driver's license, forms of intimidation.
Yeah, see, now he's talking, this is yet another issue. This is the Schwarzes who were intimidated and kept from voting on Election Day. Because the Bush people knew damn well who those Schwarzes were going to be voting for. They were voting for Al Gore. How's it going, dark folks? The only problem is have somebody stand over your shoulder and teach you how to read so you can punch the right thing next time. And just one of them, please. Just one hole. 1056 at 560 WQM. What we're hearing are stories from Africa now, and they're punching every hole in sight, is what I'm hearing. And paying a wicked price for it. But anyway, it's another story for another day and another show. I bet you Laurie won't be talking about that. No. All you professional right-wingers out there, the white males, that's where the problem is, and of course that's most of our audience, but that's okay. Don't bother me one way or the other. I get paid regardless. White males, and that's where this whole big Rush Limbaugh thing, all of a sudden out of nowhere, their hero, he wrote it on his big, fat, goddamn pet pig. Yeah.
Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami, Fort Lauderdale, a Beasley Broadcast Group station, and WQAM.com for the world.
Only in the Banana Republic, baby. Only in Miami.
George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. Georgie Jr. is a piece of shit. He's a rich, spoiled brat, and the milk can junkie. What's he gonna do with all that campaign money? He don't give a crap about people going hungry, but don't confuse them with the fact. Oh, we can't find your rap sheet. It just disappeared. We're looking all over, and it still ain't here. Hey, Georgie Jr., where'd your rap sheet go? Are you afraid that we'll find out that you did blow? You were a rich college kid, a drunken party pope, and you got pinched for possession of drugs. But a rich bitch like you can hire a judge to get some Ajax Blender and a big fat sponge. George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. Georgie Jr. is a piece of shit. One more time. George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. Come on. George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. Yes, George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. Georgie Jr. is a piece of shit.
All right, 11:02 at 560 WQM, and like I said before, you're dealing with rampant mediocrity, which I think is perfect for this country. I think it just fits like a rubber glove. And of course, if it don't fit, then it must be full of Schmidt. Just exactly what we deserve is what you got there. I mean, these two, Sunday night, there's Bush declaring he and Cheney are they're in a ghostly performance that, like I said in the first hour, even Chris Matthews couldn't believe how ghastly and grotesque he looked. Terrified. Deer in the headlights would be an insult to the deer of America. And then here's Gore last night in his most important 5 minutes of his life to try to win this PR campaign, to try to stop that spin from moving out of control in the other direction. And while I didn't see the whole thing, I mean, the two-minute clip that they showed on the news this morning, he was, and it would be an insult to cigar store Indians to make a comparison. It would be. He was more wooden than this goddamn counter that I'm sitting in front of, this piece of crap. And this is what they give us to choose from, and we're supposed to get all whipped up, and then we're supposed to go and conduct what's called an election in what's supposed to be the freest and most democratic country in the world with a bunch of paper or toy ballots with little swinging chads and pieces of crap floating out all over the place, and people holding them up to the light, people most of whom are over the age of 100 and couldn't see it if you stuck it right in front of their face in the ballot, too. So excuse me if I fail to get as agitated and psychotic about it as most of you evidently are, or at least a lot of you, because I'll say it again, and I've been consistent all the way through. They're both crap. Bush is a bigger, more dangerous piece of crap, but they're all four of them pure, unadulterated crap. Where is Jesse? If we can just hang on for 4 freaking years for Jesse Ventura to come riding in on his goddamn horse. Can't you just see that? Riding across the frozen tundra of northern Minnesota. Of course, it's kind of hard to get across those Great Lakes, but maybe they'll freeze up just in time. Maybe it'll be an act of God at the Great Lakes.
Oh, God!
It'll freeze over. And Jesse will ride in on his chariot right down there to Washington, D.C., and you have to leave the G out. You do understand that? No, Washington. This is W talk. You got to talk like good old guys out there. Washington, D.C., like you're kind of illiterate. Well, like you are illiterate, which he is. Is he illiterate?
Uh-huh.
He's dumb. Here's Bonita Springs. Hello. Bonita Springs? Was that a hang-up, or was that he just dropped it? I think he just dropped it. And the phone, too. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Oh, hello.
Yes, sir.
Hi, how are
Is
you?
there anybody awake and alive in this goddamn town? Fort Lauderdale, speak to me, sir.
No, I'm sorry, my mind was floating.
Okay.
I apologize. How was your vacation?
Great. Sensational.
Good.
Now I'm back here with the same, picking up right where we left off.
I hope you don't mind if I get off the subject of politics for a second.
Yeah.
But I'm interested, actually, in your opinion about something, if you don't mind.
And what is that?
Well, first of all, I'll give you a little background. I'm 22 years old, okay? I've been living in Fort Lauderdale now for about 3 months. I mean, I was born here. I was raised here, I guess. And I moved to Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh, Jesus.
And I promptly fell in love with this girl. I'm being serious. All cynicism aside. She saved me, I guess, from a lot of things, which I won't get into.
Well, what do you mean she saved you? She saved you from what?
Myself for a little bit, and it worked. And she made me healthier. You know, I mean, I did a lot better without her when...
Would you like give you a bath or something? She shaved you and give you a bath?
Oh, no. She didn't do that. Actually, she was a dominatrix, so occasionally she did. But,
I see.
Anyway, so in about an hour, I'm getting back on the Greyhound. Because I don't have too much money. You know?
Yeah.
I live kind of like a writer's life from here to there.
Schlepper, yeah.
And, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go back to see her. She doesn't know I'm coming. She has no idea. But, she was just down here 2 weeks ago, and we cried about 10 times together. And, like I said, all sarcasm aside, what do you think?
What do I think about what?
Well, do you think I should go?
You're calling. I have no idea who you are. I have no idea if this dominatrix, what the hell she's all about. And you're calling some bozo on a radio show to ask me about your life?
Well,
Did you get on the bus? Well, the answer is, of course. Go for it, man. Get out of here.
Okay.
While the getting is still good.
Okay. And Neil, you're a good guy. You're almost an angel. Don't be so bitter, my friend.
I'm not bitter. I'm just telling you, get a life. Have a great time, pal.
All right.
Okay. She'll whip you into shape. You have any idea what he was talking about?
No.
Except
that he's a schlepper, like you said.
Well, look, not everybody can be a big shot like you. At least one good thing, we won't have to be asking about those bonus checks anymore.
We won't?
Not if the numbers keep on like those.
I'm still waiting for the summer.
Hey,
not the summer.
It's only the 28th of November, for Christ's sakes. You just better calm down. You better know your place, mister. 567. So this guy, seriously, get on the bus and go. What are you asking me for? Just do it. Christ almighty, even Knoxville, Tennessee looks pretty good compared to this joint. Just listen to a few more of these calls. If I haven't convinced you yet, you listen to a few of these calls. You'll be flying on that bus. You'll be driving it. Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Neil?
I'm doing great.
Well, that guy's gonna have a problem when he gets back to Knoxville because he's gonna have to kick James Baker out of her bedroom.
Yeah.
Anyhow, one thing that really slays me is all these people talking about how the American public is losing its patience for this thing, and it's a hoot because the Republicans really didn't care about our patience when those Nazis dragged us through impeachment for a year. They had no problem whatsoever with the Americans' patience.
That is correct. We were supposed to sit back, and however long it takes, we're going to nail his ass. That's correct.
Exactly. And the other thing about time is that, they're talking about December 12th. December 12th is a drop-dead date. Well, I don't really think that's true because, according to Florida laws, if the election is overturned, the judge will simply put in an order of ouster, and they will remove whoever was elected. And in this case, it happens to be the electors. And so it doesn't really matter when it is.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that sounds good in theory. I don't think any judge is going to do that.
Well, that's what the law says. The final thing I want to bring up is how are they going to deal with this blatant problem of the fact that Al Gore is entitled to the manual recount? When they did the precincts, the 3 precincts, they found a difference. The law says they shall manually recount. So how are they going to get around that?
Can I tell you where the problem lies? Who's responsible for that? Those 7 bozos on the Florida Supreme Court. What was the big rush? Why couldn't they have given them 2 weeks? Why did they set a deadline, especially over the Thanksgiving holiday weekend, when they knew that it was virtually impossible for them to complete counting over 600,000 ballots in Dade County by hand? Why didn't they give them like 2 weeks to do it, and we still would have had plenty of leeway before the December 12th deadline?
Well, I completely agree with you.
The Florida Supreme Court blew it big time, baby.
Right. And James Baker said this morning that the Democrats asked for an extension. That's completely untrue. David Boies not only did not ask for an extension, he suggested that the judge lift the restraining order on the certification, allow the certification to go through immediately, and rather just prevent them from appointing electors. So to say that the Democrats asked for an extension is a complete mischaracterization of what they were asked for. You're right. The Supreme Court took it upon themselves to make that extension, and it was terrible in hindsight.
Absolutely, the worst.
All right, Neil.
Good luck to us. Yeah, it made it worse. Instead of making it better, it made it worse because they said, okay, well, you can go ahead and recount, but you're going to have to do it in a half an hour. That's really what it boils down to. They gave them an unreasonable amount of time in which they knew they couldn't get it done, so it was a catch-22. What do you say, 22? Oh, Bush just got 22 more votes. Yeah, any number you say. Just say a number in the state of Florida. Just say it out loud. 9. He just got 9 more votes. That's the new Florida effing law, man. 10 past 11 at 560. Well, he might need him as a buffer. He might need a cushion.
I know that Broward even loves Neil Rogers.
Hey, do you want to run faster, jump higher, and make the blind see again? What? You want to move like the wind, soar like an eagle, and raise people from the dead? Huh? Yeah? Then there's only one cute little dude. The all-new Air Jesus. Air Jesus. Just put a pair on. What they'll do for your game is a miracle.
Don't stick it out.
Air Jesus shoes?
Yeah, why? Just push the button, man. I know.
Air Jesus. The secret of Air Jesus lies in the soul. The patented cushion chamber is filled with avion, carefully laid into the seam so every part of your foot is always walking on water. Sorry, not responsible for any water chamber that turns to wine. And coming soon, look for the all-new Air Jesus cross trainers. Air Jesus. They'll make you feel like you're born again.
11:15 at 560 WQM. Stop by the Pack Mill located at 965 Nob Hill Road in Plantation for all your shipping needs in this holiday season. Mention Neil Rogers and they'll give you 10% off. And we thank them profusely for the great job they're doing in handling all of our shipping for our fundraiser this year. Best stuff for a Planned Parenthood. $60,880 so far. It's, okay. George says it's pretty good. Well, I mean, considering that it's this radio station, if it was on like a real radio station, we'd have over $100,000 already. But it's on QAM, so we're doing the best that we can. So stop by Specs and pick up our stuff or go to neilrogers.com, please. Got Hank Goldberg at Flagler at 2 today. We got Hank with Robert Jones at 5. Boog Shabby 6 to 7:15. Hurricane basketball at North Carolina Charlotte 7:15 at 8K after the basketball game. How come we haven't had no calls on reflux esophagitis so far? On Neil's latest ailment. Huh? It's a lot more interesting than talking about this stupid goddamn election. Seriously, if you had like bad indigestion, which you would tell me just before the show, Sunday night, you just had bad indigestion, key lime pie, whatever, all the crap, got into a bad bowl of grits and gave them the Schmitz, and it's bad. This has to do with real life, not some bunch of bozos up there that want us to think that they're important. Are they important? No, they're not important. They're a bunch of assholes. They're a bunch of grave robbers. Reflux esophagitis. Oh, yeah. And it gets up into your, like, upper chest, like on the sides, you know? And then you think it's a heart thing. And then you get all panicky, and then you have that stabbing thing in the middle of your chest, and you think for sure you're having a Dick Cheney. And you go, boy, wow, this is it. And then you go to your doctor. Yeah, actually, you know, my doctor's a cardiologist. I actually found out something he knows something about yesterday. About the heart. Isn't that something? After all this time, Dr. Dick and his little friend Gary. How you doing, Gary? Hey, Gary. Oh, going to the airport. I'm waiting for my plane to Amsterdam at MIA. And I'm sitting there in the, I was in the lounge for a while, and I go down by the gate waiting to board the plane, minding my own business. And here come two guys over, two listeners, and they're friends of Gary from Dr. Dick's office. They're probably listening right now. And the whole conversation, which went on much, much too long, and even when they got on the plane, I'm sitting there up in business class, and the schleppers that they are, they're passing me going back, and they see me, hey, boy, do we bust that Gary's balls or what? Gary, that's all they talked about is how they bust Gary's balls. And they go and knock on his door at 2 in the morning and wake him up. Yeah. Well, what do you do for a living? Oh, I bust Gary's balls. Yeah, I mean, what's your claim to fame? I bust Gary's balls. But anyway, Dr. Dick knows his heart stuff. That's a great thing, that the machine. I mean, I don't want to get anybody in sales upset, but it sure as hell, I mean, the heart test was good. That was important, but this is much more graphic. It's much more, and also there was a little bit of calcification, that showed up in the heart test, but much more beyond that. Full color, no less. Have you never had that done?
No, not
it's
yet.
worth having it done just for the fun of seeing all that stuff going on.
Very soon, I'm sure.
Although watching the heart is not a very pretty thing to see. It's a gross thing.
Have you ever squishy in the movie?
Yeah, it's like, oh man.
I watched those open heart surgery shows.
Gross.
Just to watch
Just grotesque, and it's like finster in there. It's dark. And they said I have like a little leakage in the aorta, which is not a big deal, I guess. I've had that for a long time. I said it's nothing like a little leak. I've always said that. But anyway, it's okay, and I just got a lot of bad gas. So if you hear some sounds, or if you're like sitting around here listening to your radio, hopefully in a dark room, and you smell something, when in doubt, you got to let it out. Brings you great relief. Also, it says a lot of things here, like lose any excess weight. He gave me a page of instructions, things not to eat. Fatty foods, like those cold cuts, don't eat no fatty food. Oh, sorry, Scott. And no chocolate. Damn it. No, I shouldn't be eating chocolate in the first place.
But
no citrus. Oh, it says no citrus.
Oh.
No citrus.
You might get canker.
And colas. Man, I drank diet soda over there by the gallon. By the liter. Take me to your liter. I mean, just drank tons of it. And it was just killing me. Diet cola. Even though it's caffeine-free, but the cola thing. What is it in cola that is a killer?
I don't know.
Well, there's something in there. Huh?
Can you have
carbonated? No, I can have carbonated stuff, but the colas are real bad. Also, tomato products, very Hasidic. Especially if Jeff Korn brings it, because it's that Jewish Italian food. They're real Hasidic. By the way, speaking of a Hasidim, they're acting up in Israel again. Can you? I just don't understand this. Because over there, of course, we get CNN International, and then with all this stuff, they keep breaking in and hooking up with the U.S. feed. But every newscast, the lead story, Middle East, the Middle East this, and the Middle, and you know something? I don't want to hear about the Middle East. I'm sick and tired of hearing. I don't give a flying crap about the Middle East. They're all crazy. Whatever they get, they deserve it. All of them. Every single one of them. They're crazy people. Oh yeah, but we got to shoot and kill those Palestinian kids just so what's his name will feel better. Sharon. I think if they would just hook up his TV with a new aerial, he'd feel, he wouldn't be so hostile. Well, he can't see the goddamn pictures on there. Either get him the cable or put a new aerial on his TV, that piece of crap, that fat Jew. Oh, you shouldn't be saying these things. First it was the Bush people he chased away, now it's going to be the old Jews. Well, you know what? Too bad. Learn how to vote. Yeah. Have somebody punch it for you in the ballot, too, you silly old Jews in Palm Beach. Serves you right to vote. You know something? Now that I look at it, I think it serves them right to vote for Buchanan. All the misery that they foisted on the rest of us, all these old Jews down here, serves you right. Voted for a Nazi, huh? And James Baker, by the way, said they're going to track down those Jews that voted for Buchanan and give them like a free tattoo for Hanukkah. That's what he said.
Cereal?
No cereal. It's not kosher. Here's a mobile in Boca. Hello.
I made it to Sunrise already.
All right. You're heading in the right direction, sir. You're in Broward now. You got out of Palm Beach County where they can't put one and one together up there. Those Graham, they're idiots.
I know, it took a long time. I'm listening to the judge report, whatever his name is,
Why?
Sunday night.
Why?
I was just going through the radio and listening to somebody talk. And he says, he's whining that the Democrats are, trying to steal the election. And to prove the point, he says that popular Neil Rogers down in South Florida told everybody to vote 100 or 200 times, and then he went away on vacation. Can you believe this?
Yeah.
Can you believe? I couldn't believe what he said.
Mm-hmm. He must be really desperate for material.
Yeah, if he's using your name, that you told people to vote 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
I wish if they would have listened to me and done it, we wouldn't be in this mess right now.
That's true. All right.
Okay.
Take care, man.
Good luck to us. Matt Drudge, boy, he's really desperate. That's all right, Matt. Just spell the name right. I can use all the publicity I can get. 5670560, pound 560. Here's Bill Schneider on here again, hawking in China.
Base from disappearing.
Yeah, disappear, please, and don't come back. And of course, this has been a tremendous bonanza. CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, even that awful right-wing Fox News channel with the little swastika in the bottom corner of the screen. It's a bonanza for them. Their ratings have been in the crapper, even worse than ours are right now, for a long time. The last good thing they had going was Elion. And then we went through months of despair, of desperation, an election that nobody really seemed to care about. And all of a sudden we get a goddamn gold mine, man. Like Diana said, we struck the mother lode. Do you think these people have any idea what I'm talking about?
No.
No. It's okay, I'm enjoying it. Here's Pompano Beach. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how are you?
Okay.
One of your conservative listeners here, I guess one of the few.
One of the few that has, of course it's not noon yet, so at noon I guess you'll be turning over to
If I'm not to work yet, I might listen to Rush. I try to listen to both sides. I want to comment on what happened in Miami, and then if you don't hang up on me, talk about the hand count. What happened in Miami is, the way I see it, and you might disagree with me, is these people were counting votes, or started to count votes, and in turn, they had decided that they were going to take the 10,000 votes and move behind closed doors and count, and that's when the quote-unquote riot broke out.
So in other words, they should have just let all those hundreds and hundreds of people who were bussed in, those professional agitators, they should have just let them in there and had chaos?
Well, what would you expect, from your point of view, if you had 3 Republicans that wanted to take votes that had not been counted yet and then we're going to go behind closed doors and count them and let you know what the result is. You're darn right they're going to count.
So in other words, you're telling me that there weren't going to be any observers watching this procedure?
Absolutely not. Newsweek was the first one to file a lawsuit to say, hey, you can't do this, let us in here. The first Newsweek was screaming louder than anybody.
Well, I wasn't here, so I can't really comment on that, and I don't have any reason to doubt you. But if that's the case, it just proves to me that David Leahy is even dumber than I already said he was.
Well, it just goes to say, I really can't fault somebody for wanting to make sure that they could at least see how their vote was counted. It's my understanding that's why.
Oh, what do you mean seeing how their vote was counted? What makes you think that any of those people, it was their vote?
Well, it's very...
So those people were bussed in. Some of them weren't even from Florida. They were bussed in from God only knows where.
Well, they were voting for the president of Florida. They were voting for the president of the United States.
But those weren't their votes.
Well, it doesn't matter if their vote. It was for their candidate. They have a right to watch the process.
No, you don't have a right. Now, if that's the case, then let the 250 million people all have to come in. So you're talking crap, okay? I'm going to get a headache if I listen to much more. I'd like to, show you what a great guy I am and how fair I am by letting you spew more bull crap, but I can't listen to it. My head is just clanging from that. Well, where does it say in the Constitution that we all have a right to witness, to be in the room, to watch our votes counted? Does it say that?
No.
Was the public allowed in the room in Palm Beach when they were?
No.
I mean, if there were not observers there from both parties, and now after him saying that, I really have no way of knowing one way or another because I wasn't here. But I would agree with him on that. But the idea that people who were brought in goddamn buses by the busload, the Tom DeLay right-wing professional agitator lunatics, that these people had a right to be in there, you're crazy, sir, and you know that. And what is it that you're afraid of? Why are you so afraid to have those 10,000 ballots counted? That's what I'd like to know. And you want to know the answer is easy. Because you know that if those ballots get counted, and if they wind up in the certified total, if the court rules that they must be part of the certified total, that Gore is going to win the election. You know that. I know it. The Bush people know that. Everybody, even a moron knows that. So at least if you'd admit that, I'd have much more respect for it. Say, here's an honest guy. An honest fascist. 26 past 11 at 560 WQAM.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560 QAM.
How young is too young?
See you later, Ralph Nader. You messed the whole election up. See you later, Ralph Nader. You messed the whole election up. Go buy yourself a new suit, man. And talk to get your stupid schmuck. You got your name on the ballot, and you never had a chance. You put your name on the ballot, the way you ever had a chance. With Bill Donahue, and the band in your hand. Thanks to you, the right-wingers, so the election fair and square. And now the Nazi right-winger, so the election fair and square. Nobody votes for a guy who drives a 65 for air. See you later, Ralph Nader. You messed the whole election up. See you later, Ralph Nader. You messed the whole election up. Go buy yourself a new suit, man, and drop dead your stupid smart. See you later, Ralph Nader. Try to take that any street. Your drive, your Corvette, into a tree.
Anybody out there want to join the Ralph Nader fan Belt Club? It's 11:33 at 560 WQAM. I'll tell you, this is the best thing, the best piece of news that's happened to me in a long time. I forgot. This morning, you noticed a couple people came running in here very concerned about me because the word was, I guess it spread around the building, that I'm going to have my heart checked out yesterday because I had a little bit of agita over there last week. And one of our sales managers, now see the bad part, it's going to come back if I don't talk about this fast enough. One of our sales managers, whom I've seen 4 times in the 3 years plus that I've been in this building. By the way, congratulations to Ken Malden, the Employee of the Month at QAM. Oh! Don't spend it all in one place, Ken. Take the pin, you'll never get it again. Like I said, take the money. But at any rate, And what was I going to say about our sales manager? It came in here. I've seen this man 3 times in the last 3 years, and I actually was sitting here just a minute ago during that commercial break, and I can't think of his name. My Alzheimer's isn't kicking in. I can think of everybody else's name. I can tell you names of horse races from 40 years ago. My memory is just fine. I can't think of his name, and I'm thinking, yeah. What my mind is doing selective, in other words, it's cleansing itself. Yeah, it's throwing out the trash. And because I've seen this man so rarely, and because he has so little to do, but he was so concerned, obviously, to make sure to actually see with his own 2 eyes that I was still here and breathing.
And touch you and...
no, not touch and feel. Give me a clue as to what his name is.
There's an airport in Pembroke Pines.
Ray Perry. Oh, see, that was bad. That was too easy. No, seriously, I forgot this man's name, and this was sensational. Not that he's a bad guy, he's just, what's the word I'm looking for? Useless?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, useless. We have a lot of people in this place who fall in that category, useless. I mean, some of them are nice people, some of them are not, but useless is the byword here at QAM. Speaking of radio stations, Tom Jicker writes, had you seen this or used it? No. Well, it's a sports kind of a thing, so you wouldn't have talked about it. Sports station sells time to religious show.
Oi!
Sports station WAFN, the fan, 17 million on a radio dial, is seeking salvation, says Tom Jicker. Strapped for cash and having lost the Dolphins coaching show because checks bounced, WAFN will begin selling blocks of time between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. on weekdays to religious broadcasters starting December 4th.
Oh.
All right.
Oh.
One consequence will be an inability to continue billing itself as Miami's only 24-hour sports station. This is a jab at competitor WQM having 4 hours of the Neil Rogers Show in its lineup. WAFN will continue to program a mixture of locally produced and Fox Sports radio programs from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and around the clock on weekends. WAFN General Manager Tony Kawaliu, whatever his name is, said the infusion of cash from religious broadcasters will keep the station solvent. How do you like that?
Only $50.
Since even Ray Perry would laugh at this. Who's he? Since signing on in August 1999, WAFN has failed to draw a measurable audience in the Arbitron ratings. Rumors of WAFN's possible demise were fanned. Nice play on words there, Tom. Were fanned when programs featuring Dolphins offensive and defensive coordinators Chan Gailey and Jim Bates ended after their coaches' checks failed to clear. Kalatayud said the checks bounced because the station switched bank accounts. Yeah. Oh, he must have picked that up from, what's her name, the Beasleys over there. Nice going there, Tony. Yeah, it's the thing they learned from the frickin' Beasleys. How's what's her name doing? It's right next to the buzz. How's she on?
Yeah, fine, actually.
What is
doing a bang-up job over this whole political thing.
She's doing a bang-up job?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're admitting that you've been listening?
Yeah. I tuned in a couple
You got a listener here, Randy. She's a goddess. Hank's going to start turning on you again if you start doing that again. He's going to turn on you. Hey, stupid! 56705C. I talked my way all the way to the next break. Well, we had about a 45-minute break there because we had 2 Pompano Park spots back-to-back because Troy Stratford can't seem to get his ass together down there. You know, Troy, who's this year's... Roy! With a T in front. See, that's the deal. We have to have some Schwarzer ex-Dolphin player whose name has got the letters R-O-Y. Don't we have Rob Conroy? Yeah, we got a Conroy on it. Yeah, anybody that's got a Roy in their name. Or is Rob Conrad? Well, change it to Conroy. As long as it's got a Roy in the name, you can work here. And maybe he can be as useless as, what's his name? 22 before noon at 5. I'm serious, I forgot his name. You could have paid me $1 million cash. I forgot his name. Out of sight, out of mind.
This is 560 QAM.
If I had the ability to I'd take you out here right now and kick your goddamn teeth in.
I had a chick named Kay. One day she flew away to Tijuana where the moon is blue. But with our right-wing censorship, there are words that mustn't slip to truly tell you how I feel for Kay. So, if you see Kay in Tijuana, now see you in Tijuana. Now if you CK, tell her I miss her each day. And the FCC won't let me sing this song I wrote today. Now if you CK, take her hand, gently say that after this transmission I'll be out in 90 days. Oh, if you CK in Tijuana, then I'll see you with Tijuana. Go, Bacana, see you with Tijuana,
Hey! 16 till noon at 560 WQM. Happy Tuesday to you. It's only 3 weeks after the election. What the hell's the big rush? 5-6. Oh, did I say the big rush? 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Out of town, 877-785-6345. Pretty quiet over there on the West Coast, huh? You get a lot of calls from Fort Myers?
Couple.
They're still trying to figure out what election we're talking about. Here's a mobile in Hallandale. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
I'm not winning and I'm getting off this elevator. Sorry to hear that you came back with GERD.
With what?
With
GERD. Remember we had those spots for a while about GERD?
No.
It's
did Ray Perry sell those spots?
Gastroesophageal reflux disorder.
Oh, is that what it is? Gee, that's something about GERD. Everything's got a name.
It's pretty. It sounds pretty gross.
Yeah.
Really not. Is that what they told you had? Or?
Yeah, that's what my doctor said yesterday. Of course, he don't know too much, but that's what he said. Because my heart looked great.
What? You having heartburn like more than twice a week?
More than twice a week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That technically would be a diagnosis of GERD, which is what he's talking about. Did he put you on any medication?
Yeah.
What do you?
No, I have no idea. Something began with a P. I have no idea.
I hope it's Prilosec.
That was it.
Fantastic.
Is that good stuff? Are you peddling that?
That's the best stuff in the world. Actually, that's the only. It's called a proton pump inhibitor. It's been out for 12 years or so.
And what does that do?
Basically, shuts down all the acid production in your stomach, so that you don't. There's just no acid being produced, or enough anyway, to reflux up back into your. Did he tell you about your lower esophageal sphincter?
No, he did not mention anything about my sphincter or my rectum. No.
What happens is were you having it just at night or throughout the day or what?
Both.
Yeah. See, what happens is you have a sphincter at the bottom of your esophagus, right before your stomach.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? I never knew that you had sphincters down there either, but and it just relaxes and allows that acid to shoot back up through your throat. And that's what you burp up and all that burning.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, he gave me a sheet here that's got all kind of instructions, and the one instruction that I find really amusing is lose any excess weight. Yeah.
Yeah, they try to usually do lifestyle modification initially, but I'm glad he put you right on the PPIs, because a lot of the physicians are, they're afraid to do that because they say that it's a little too strong right off the bat.
Oh no, my doctor never met a pill he didn't like. He's big into pills. He'll deny it, but he's big into pills.
But he's a good doctor if he's doing that, because a lot of them will try to put you on Zantac or Tagamet or some crap like that, and they'll do H2RAs over the.
No, he goes right to the bomb every time.
Well, you're right. I just so happen to work for the pharmaceutical company that
right.
sells that.
You're a pill pusher. That's okay. Everybody's got to have some function in life.
And I voted for Gore, by the way.
What is it?
I voted for Gore, by the way.
Yeah.
But anyway, which is probably not good for my industry, but that's okay. It's a humanitarian vote.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm in this area, so I told George somehow or another I could maybe slide by the office there and have him sign out. Did he give you some samples?
Not that many. I could sure use a lot more.
Very expensive drug.
Yeah.
About $100 and some a month. I know you get big bucks. But,
too much for me. I can't afford it.
It always helps. George, I think I could talk to George off the air. Or I think.
Okay, thanks in advance. Hang on, thanks.
All right.
Okay, talk to him and find out. Get us some free drugs. Maybe he's got some good stuff for you too. One thing, it's all about free, folks. Don't ever forget that, and especially free drugs. Yeah. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Here's Bonita Springs. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing today?
Okay.
I just wanted to let you know about the new report in the paper that they have Gore stir all this up because he's going to make everybody all bitter and mad So when 2004 comes, Hillary Clinton's going to ease right into the White House.
Uh-huh.
Wonder what you thought about that.
You want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon. She's going to be sliding out of the White House very soon, sir, in a couple of weeks. She's going to be sliding out in about 4 weeks. And will not be sliding back in anytime soon. Here's a lady in Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil?
Yes, ma'am.
Neil, it's caffeine that's in cola that's bad for you.
But I drink caffeine-free.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, but that's what it is. No, the reason
No, but that's not what it's not what it is, because I drink it and caffeine-free, no caffeine, and it still just turns your stomach, it churns it like a cauldron.
Then I don't know what else is in cola. God knows what it is.
God knows, I'll ask him.
Listen, I just wanted to add 2 more names to those phony Democrat lists.
Yeah.
That's Teresa Lepore and that Judge Burton in West Palm Beach. Because, in my opinion, these were the people that devised...
Wait a minute, Judge Burton's not a Democrat, he's a Republican.
No, he is a Democrat.
No. He's the one Republican under the 3 of them. There are two Democrats. He's Carol Gordon and Teresa Lepore, and he's a Republican.
Oh, because I thought I read that he was a Democrat.
No.
Okay, well then
No.
That's one down. Okay.
Okay?
Bye.
Okay, bye. 185 votes so far. Who should rightfully be the next president in your humble and probably not too well-informed opinion? Gore, 129, 69.7%. Bush, 56, 30.2%. But keep in mind that the Bush people, they're not listening to us. They hate us like poison now, and too bad. We don't care. Do we care?
No.
No. We're more interested in our GRD. What is it called? GERD. Sounds like some kind of a Scandinavian. It sounds like somebody, maybe like Jesse Ventura's bodyguard. Oh, I would like you to meet Gerd. He's my bodyguard.
My bodyguard.
Yeah. 5670560. Can't we just do the election over and have better choices? Just get rid of all 4 of those and start over with almost anybody. Just get rid of those 4. Here's Deerfield Beach. Hello.
The votes have been counted, they've been recounted, and they've been counted again. Don't you get sick of hearing these punks say that?
Yeah. I get sick of all of it.
I've got a high point and a low point of this whole sordid affair that you missed while you were gone.
I didn't miss any of it.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Did you see when the Broward County head of the canvassers almost threw out the Republican attorney, had the deputies come over and they were standing right by his chair?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, it was a beautiful...
yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I saw it. The guy was very adamant. And this was the gay judge you were talking about. He really bushed up.
I didn't know he was a gay judge.
Yeah, he is. He's out of the closet. I'm not outing him or anything. He's a gay judge.
Is that right?
He even mentioned he lives with his mother.
He's one of the heroes of this whole affair.
Yeah, he did a good job, and he became a very big handball in there at the end. When he came out to announce the final results, he kept talking about how he wasn't used to talking to the media, but he really got into it. Brought papa. He was a loving. They had a drag out of there.
Now, the low point, and I'm glad that you were out of the country to possibly miss this.
Yeah, me too.
Suzanne Malveaux was doing her usual good stand-up up in West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
And who walks into the picture with a Bush Cheney bumper sticker pasted on his back? The fisherman!
Oh, no.
I swear to you, she said to him,
no.
There's nothing you won't do to get in front of a camera, is there? Oh, my God. And he said, I'd be here even if there wasn't a camera.
Yeah, sure.
That actually happened. I almost lost my lunch. It was Thanksgiving.
You know something? My reflux is starting. My GERD is starting to slip.
One last question, Neil. Do you think we have any chance in that lawsuit up in Seminole County?
Well, what do you mean do we have any chance? Of course.
You think, because there's 4,000 votes there.
Right. 4,000...
700 something.
4,700 bogus that were already pre-signed absentee ballots.
So you think we have a shot at that?
Sure, not to mention the 51 votes in Nassau County.
Right.
Right. So now we got up to 5,000. I say by 12:30 today, Bush ought to concede.
It ain't over till it's over, buddy.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Say hi to Yogi. Bye-bye. Oh, and I saw that over there a week ago Sunday morning.
I still have it.
You still haven't seen McLaughlin and Company? Oh, my God.
Well, I've been distracted by...
Bye-bye. Where's Jackie Big German when we need him? 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. And the best part of it is poor Eleanor Clift. They have 2 liberals sitting on one side of John McLaughlin, who's a real fascist, former Catholic priest, and two right-wingers on the other side. And poor Eleanor, they're always trying, because it's three guys and one broad, and she's always getting stepped on. Let me finish! And always it's great. And maybe someday, what was it? I have no idea. That's the best part of it, is he waited all that time, got on, and screamed out some goddamn thing. I have no idea what he said. Does anybody care?
No.
567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon Wireless line. Don't forget our Best of Neil CDs and cassettes, the best ones ever this year. They're great. Some really good crap on there. You can go to your spec stores. They make great gifts for the holidays, for Christmas, for Hanukkah, for Atheist Days, whatever days we're celebrating this year. Specs all over Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach, and even in Naples and Fort Myers, even though those people have nothing to say to us over there, which we're starting to really despise them like poison. They're just indifferent. And in less than 100 keychains, the Best of Neil keychains remain, including the one I have in my hand right now that goes like that, and also goes, and a bunch of other good stuff. And you can get those from NeilRogers.com, or next time Miguel goes out somewhere. I don't mean in the van, just next time he just goes out of the building. Here's a mobile in Boca. Hello.
Good afternoon, Neil.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Good, almost.
God, can you believe the fisherman? My God.
That just took me aback. Yeah.
I have a question for you, Neil.
Almost took me aback to the airport to get on a plane and get out of here again.
That's your passport. In regards to all the lawyers that are involved in all of these lawsuits going back and forth between the Democrats, who pays for all these lawyers?
The Democrats and the Republicans. The campaign.
It comes from the campaign.
Sure.
Okay, that's
the lawyers are having a field day. They're loving it.
Right, sure. That's somewhat of a relief.
Well, I'll tell you, Alan Dershowitz always disturbed me, but when he said that Katherine Harris was a crook and a total partisan, that was one of the great days of my life when I heard that.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Nice going, Alan Dershowitz.
One last comment, that guy in the morning, Depot, is an asshole.
Yeah.
Oh,
we're working on him, but there's no hope,
He is the biggest pessimist I've ever seen.
Too many losing tickets.
Yeah, the worst team.
Yeah, too many tickets. Okay, have a great day, pal. Is this guy picking on my buddy Depot again? Come on. Depot? He's got 1,422 different checks in his pocket from 1,422 different jobs. He's got to scrape together a living. And when you lose as much at the track as he does and plunge your guts out gambling on everything as he does, you got to eke it out, okay? When in doubt, eke it out. He's okay. Never stole a freight train.
This is 560 QAM. Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami, Fort Lauderdale. A Beasley Broadcast Group station. And WQAM.com for the world.
I'm a fat Jew.
Hey, would you like to become a sports color commentator on primetime television? Then why not enroll in the Dennis Miller School of Broadcasting?
Okay, please, let's start at square one. It's not a ball, it's a pigskin, okay? It's not a playing field, it's a gridiron, and never ever call them a crowd when you can refer to them as a teeming multitude of kinetic enthusiasts, okay?
At the Dennis Miller School of Broadcasting, learn how to fill time between plays with spontaneous, down-to-earth banter to which the working man can easily relate.
Okay, class. Repeat after me. Here we go. I haven't seen blocking like that since the cavalry sequence in Birth of a Nation. I haven't seen blocking like that.
At the Dennis Miller School of Broadcasting, Dennis Miller himself will teach you how to construct entire sentences using nothing but made-up words.
Oh, man, Al. What an ostentatious malaprism of unaffiliated narcissism.
So if you are a fan of such legendary sportscasters as John Madden, Terry Bradshaw, and Don Meredith, then you should attend the Dennis Miller School of Broadcasting and become nothing like them.
Hi, folks. I'm Dennis Miller reminding you that classes that start this week will have you on the air making references to the House of Plantagenet in just 6 weeks.
The Dennis Miller School of Broadcasting. Enroll today before Dennis is unceremoniously fired at the end of the season.
And should be, like before the end of the season. 1202 at 560 WQM, 5670560, pound 560. U.S. Supreme Court briefs on Bush appeal due at 4 p.m. I mean, there's really nothing going on. They're just going on.
The majority of Americans believe that...
Yeah. You see, the fact is that what a majority of Americans believe doesn't really mean anything at this point, except for the fact that it gives these talking heads something to talk about. Oh, let's take another poll. I can't stand people that take all these polls except the good ones we take every day. No, seriously, why do we have to keep polling on what the American, how great their patience is? Just forget about their patience. Let's get it right. Is there something wrong with getting it right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here's Kendall. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Glad to hear you back on the radio.
Here I am.
Hey, I wanted to comment on Joe Lieberman, and his effect on the ticket.
Nauseating.
Yeah, well, I want to preface the remarks by saying one of my best friends is a guy named Eddie. He's been a loyal listener of yours for years. In fact, he turned me on to your show. And he told me about a week ago, he's like, you know what, I'm not going to listen to Neil anymore because he's become a shill for the Democrats, the thing he can't stand, supposedly. And I'm like, whatever, dude. Anyway, this guy ends up voting for Bush, and I'm sitting around at a party one night, we're hanging out, and I want to find out why he ends up voting for a right-wing asshole who's backed by the religious nuts that he can't stand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it came down to after an hour? He's like, yeah, he goes, I can't stand having a Jew a heartbeat away from the president.
Sure.
Him and another friend of mine also.
See, at least one thing, we don't have to worry about Cheney. He's not a heartbeat away from the presidency because his ain't beaten anymore. That's not very often.
I know, but you know what's amazing about this is like when Gore initially picked Lieberman, I was really worried, but then the election started playing out, and I was like, maybe it's not that big of a deal. But now that I think about it, people aren't going to come out and say that's not the reason they voted for Gore.
Of course not. It's a hidden factor that no poll is ever going to show.
Absolutely. And, I don't know if
the factor is real. What did I say, Israel?
Hey, Neil, in closing?
Yes. Okay, see ya. Wow, he had it right up to the goddamn phone there, and his little thing, too. And his little thing right up to the phone.
Bye, bye, bye.
56705. Wish they'd get line 5 fixed here already, okay? Come on, Duff, do something. Get off your ass. Get off your lazy ass. Thanks for getting my check, by the way. You notice how they play dumb anytime you ask for money around here?
Money?
Money? Yeah. Even though I wasn't here, but the last time I checked, I still get paid like the regular pay on vacations. And you'll also notice that it almost never anymore comes like willingly, like automatic. Like it used to be in the old days before she got sick again, Miriam. See, I remember her name. And I haven't seen her in a coon's age. But she used to bring the check, remember, faithfully on payday. But since we don't see her very much anymore, it's always like, could you check around and see if Pat's got my check, if he's sitting on it down there, if he's hiding it under his... Maybe Ray Perry. What's his name? What's Ray Perry's name again? 5670560, pound 560. I feel so much better thanks to that Prilosec. And thank you so much, my drug guy that called before. Thank you. Well, no, that's good. We're getting some free drugs up here. Plus, there's a guy that cares about my health and about my GERD, and not just about this stupid crap all over. Oh, Bush moves ahead with transition. Does anybody care? No. Like I told you, they're spinning their way in. We're moving ahead. We don't care whether they believe it or us or not. We won. We don't care who believes. We're moving on. And if you won't let us in there, the regular place, we'll run our own goddamn penthouse suite somewhere. And we'll raise $5 million from a bunch of rich fat cats. No corporations, by the way, only from individuals. Here's a lady in Hollywood. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, good afternoon. What's going on in Miami? The Cuban mafia and their money. But we created this monster, and now it's devouring us. Okay? Thank you.
It's eating us? Okay. It's eating at me, I'll tell you that. It's devouring us. I'm devoured to death. 567, the Cuban Mafia. In Miami. That's right, there is no mafia, okay? It's just Cosa Nostra. It's just our thing. You have your thing and I got my thing. And I don't want to see it, lady. Here's Hollywood, hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I didn't know I was on the air.
You're on the air, it sounds just like you.
Yeah, while I was listening, I heard about this Dalrymple idiot, the fisherman.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, but it's very apropos because there's something fishy about what happened in this election down here. I can just say this, Gore and Bush.
Gore and Bush, yeah.
Is it what I say? Gore and Bush?
Gore and Tush.
Gore and Bush. They're really a couple of four-letter words.
Gore and Lush.
Gore really has no one to blame but himself that he,
I agree with you. He ran a crappy campaign, picked the wrong guy for VP, picked a wimpy, fanatical Jew instead of just like if he was going to pick a Jew. I kept saying this over and over again and nobody would listen to me. Not some damn Orthodox fanatical wear it on your sleeve, a holy roller Jew.
And then
all he needed was to pay us in the goddamn deadlocks.
And then to make sure that he wouldn't win, he told Clinton, who was the best campaigner for the office of president,
to stay out of the way.
To stay out of the way.
If they would have, you know something, if they would have brought Clinton out in Tennessee and Arkansas and really ran him all around those two states, Gore would have won his home state. He only lost both of those states by 3 points apiece.
How many electoral votes is there in Arkansas?
Enough.
Yeah, because he had 261. So,
well, Tennessee's got 11.
Yeah, so
that would have given him 272. He had 262.
Okay, so that would have put him over the top.
Right.
But he didn't want Clinton to, he wanted to be his own
He
man.
wanted to keep him in the closet. And, of course, guess what? He ain't no Bill Clinton. With or without the blowjobs, he ain't no Bill Clinton. Trust me when I tell you. Bill Clinton's got more personality in his penis than Al Gore's got in his whole body. Make no mistake about that. That's what Jennifer Flowers said, and Monica Lewinsky, and Kathleen Willey. Yeah. Gives me the willies just thinking about that bitch. All these sluts, all these whores, all these carpet, I was going to say carpet munchers, but that's in Janarina's office. What was it that Monica said she had her knee pads? Yeah. She had her presidential knee pads, and then all of a sudden, she's the poor abused one that, by the way, saved the dress. Just for posterity. And I'm sure that all you women out there that go out and hang out and carouse around with guys who have bad aim, I'm sure you save the evidence just for posterity, just for your collection. Yeah. It's called the Monica's Erection Collection. Squirt. Bunch of sluts. And then they're the abused ones. And then, see, this is the typical right-wing thing. It's what they always do. Gotcha. It's always catching somebody with their pants down. We gotcha, to try to embarrass and humiliate. And guess what? It doesn't work anymore, because then come to find out we got all the Bob Livingstons and all these other assholes with all their own skeletons in their own closets. How about that Katherine Harris? Can you imagine her closet?
I just can't stand that slut.
Yeah. She looks like a cheap hooker, that bitch. She's got more makeup on than Toulouse-Lautrec. That freaking bitch. Well, I still think that's a good poll. Keep it in mind for next week. Who's got the best eyelashes, her or Carol Gordon in Palm Beach? Maybe we can have a lash off.
Candy fake.
Yeah, in fact, you know something? Why can't we do like New Mexico? They said that if they had, that's the law in New Mexico, because it was so close. At one point, Bush was ahead by 4, and then Gore's ahead by whatever, 400. But if they have an exact tie, it's settled by, and then the candidates, they decide among themselves either a game of chance, like a game of poker, or they can flip a coin, or they can have like a duel, or something like that.
Ooh, a duel.
Yeah. Let's get, what was his name that was in Duel? Oh, Ray Perry. No, what was his name? Dennis Weaver. Wasn't that who was in there? Dennis Weaver. Well, see, now I can't get Ray Perry out of my mind, which is a frightening thought. Because I'm sure I won't see him again for at least 6 months. I'm hoping. Insincere. Ray, you're insincere. You're not fooling anybody. 10 past, what is it? 10 past noon at 560 QM.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Hurricane fucking blow! And now the newly elected Florida election supervisor, the count. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I am the call, and I also count. I am the solution for the election. Florida's election process. Why, it's the eyes. 1, 2, 3. That's our love and peace. Tabulating can be. Discarding ballots makes it easy. Like making Alabama First you count the hook that never will punch. A double punch is disqualified. Take the fingers on your hand and count them. Just like me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. I only have 4. Oops. Sorry. I'm for a recount. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
12:15 at 560 WQAM. Stock exchange Dow's down 7.5. How's that NASDAQ doing, huh? Flip that thing, you idiots, you bozos. I know what time it is. Just flip the damn thing on the NASDAQ on CNN. Oh, God, are they slow. And now we're back to the Dow again. Down 6.5. See, they make you change the channel because they suck. They suck on CNN. They should only dial 84. They didn't want to show us. NASDAQ's down 84. You know what Mitch Hirsch is always saying? I think the worst is over. This is the end of it. Yeah. As in, this is the end of your money. How's that Citrix doing? Here's a call in Fort Myers. Hello.
Fort Myers?
Yes, sir.
Hi. Neil, you know, it'd be nice to see Gore pull the election out in Florida, but you got to understand one thing.
Well, you're not allowed to pull it out in Florida.
Pardon?
Go ahead.
But the Republicans are not going to let him have it. I mean, the fix is already in.
Right.
They're in the legislature. Tom DeLay's got his people out in Congress, and they're going to not accept even if he overturns it, they're going to say the court overstepped their bounds, and they'll say we're not going to accept these
delegations. Yeah, that's going to be their slogan, by hook or by crook.
Right, and it's crook. It's been a crooked out. I mean, they're not. I mean, you know. People say, well, they wouldn't do this, but they would do it. They speak to the president. They don't. They use raw power, political power.
They tried the impeachment route with the penis gate and all of that stuff. They tried that, didn't work worth a crap, and wasted $70 million of taxpayer money. And now this is the only other way they can do it, is to have a fixed election. And what a coincidence that the governor's brother just happens to be governor of our state. Isn't that just a coincidence?
This Katherine Harris woman. She should have recused herself.
Oh yeah.
She was. I mean, anybody knows that.
Just like Alan Dershowitz said, a crook and a total partisan.
And the press just really does not get in, does not do a good job of exposing.
No, they give a mealy mouth view. You know, they're doing a green apple quick stop. All they want to do is grab up the ratings and make sure that they can keep people glued and milk it for as much as they can get.
I mean, there was a time when a Tom DeLay would not get away with this kind of. I mean, the stuff that he has done, taking those people to show these raw FBI files.
Yeah, but the good news is that here, when it's all over, he's eloping with James Baker. That's what I heard. Have a great day, pal.
Bye.
Hey, okay, batten down the hatches. Start with Orrin. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT. Yeah, he was on there yesterday, Orrin Snatch. They're all pontificating. Anyway, they're like this governor from Montana. What's this guy's name? Mark
Roscoe. Buffalo Chili, that's a crap buddy.
Well, who the hell is this guy to come out of a bunch of a bumfork place like that? And now he's the great pontificator, yeah. Now he's licking Bush. Every time he's on TV, there he is licking Bush. Mr. Self-Righteous, Mr. Indignant, Mr. Holier-than-thou. Keep your nose out of it. And this is the media's fault again, because they got to fill up all these hours, so they bring all these totally non-credible partisan assholes in there. Christ. Yeah, he'll be next. He's under that, I think, right after the fisherman. 567-0560, pound 560. It's the fisherman! That is good news. In fact, that's going to be our poll tomorrow. Who would you rather run into in like a shopping mall this holiday season? The fisherman or Ray Perry? Huh? It's a toss-up. Or Matty Bell. I bet you Matty Bell's excited about those trends, huh? Can you imagine the gnashing of teeth? I'm in a kind of a sick, perverse way. I'm delighted. I'm delirious. They deserve it. They deserve to get, and Bluff is running around like, oh, gee, I did the extrapolations on those sport shows in October. Gee, some of them just felt like right off the, well, guess what? Not everybody in their mind. At a time like this, most people aren't interested in hearing about the stupid goddamn BSC poll and about isn't 12.5 too high of a spread on a game. And that was the last thing I heard as I drove out of here that last day before vacation. I'm listening to Hank, and he's talking about the election. I mean, he did his damnedest to try to, make some sense, and because he knew this is what most living and breathing people wanted to hear and talk about. And what's the first call that I hear after Hank did his diatribe about the election thing? Some jackass, oh, let's talk about important things, Hank, like, oh, gee, isn't 12.5 an awful high number on this game? The gambling station, and we're sitting here talking about the fact that their checks are bouncing down the goddamn dial there. About at least they got a prayer, which we don't, with our religious programming. Now, we haven't got a prayer here at QAM.
No.
And when's this place getting sold already? God. I even went to the old church. Not where I fell down that time. I went inside. Even I prayed a few times. I said, oh, please, sell us to anybody, especially if somebody wants to buy me out. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Great.
Bad news for you on the caller earlier on who's paying the legal fees for all of these lawsuits.
Don't tell me the taxpayers.
The today's paper, the Florida legislature, our Republican leadership authorized $60,000 of state of Florida money to intervene as a friend of the court in the federal lawsuit.
Only $50.
A friend of the court on whose side?
On the Republican side, saying the Florida Supreme Court overstepped their bounds.
How do you like that?
So
thanks to the fact that W's brother is our governor and that the governor's brother's girlfriend is our Secretary of Bush, now we're spending taxpayer money to intervene on their side.
Not only that, the Republican leadership said there was no reason for them to need to talk to any Democrats about the money they were going to spend because they control the Florida legislature.
There you go. That's right. Thanks for the good news.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
And back to you. How do you like that, George? I don't. I say it's time for a tax revolution. I say it's time for goddamn Key Biscayne Tea Party or something like that. Huh? A Palm Beach Tea Party. Bring green tea. It's a lot better for you. I hear that black tea is very good for you. I never had black tea, did you?
No, I don't think I've ever even seen it.
I read that black tea is very good for you. Of course, nobody wants to eat anything that's very good for you. Like that sheet that I got that tells me all the things I can't eat with my GERD attack. Can't eat this, can't eat that, can't eat anything fatty, can't eat chocolate, can't have any like tomato sauce, tomato juice, which is supposed to be very good for your prostate. Can't eat anything. So I'm just going on, every day is going to be Yom Kippur in my house. I'm just not eating anymore till after the show. And of course, once we start finding a place that can make us a good omelet. Besides the diner, although they do have pretty good stuff over there. The diner, only we have to pay for it. No, it's look, I mean, it's not a question of having to pay for it. It's a question of it's like giving in. It's like throwing in the towel. But I just can't eat all, I mean, not with all due respect to people that have brought us the free food, the spicy tomato stuff, and you wonder why both of us are running like a mad dash every time after those meals? Yeah. Now you know the answer. We're having a GERD attack. But someplace that could make like a nice cheese and bacon omelet, doesn't that sound good? Without the potatoes and all the crap that they put on the side. Just the omelet, please. Like last night at the track, I had me a nice steak.
But who brings you that breakfast in the morning whenever you steal?
They don't like us.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but it's not one of our people. That's my point.
Isn't that bagel high?
Bagel high? Well, they probably really believe that Defoe is Jewish. They probably believe that crap. That's probably why they're bringing it in. Or maybe it's for Gildy. Yeah, they do have good omelets. Maybe they'll bring an omelet tomorrow. Huh?
You can't eat the bagels, but
I can't eat the bagels, but I sure like a nice omelet from Bagel High. And if we gave them a plug, they might actually do some business as opposed to the morning show on the station, which has no audience. But just something to keep in mind. Here's Plantation. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Great.
Once in a while, you got to have the American public think. And if you think about this, what Baker did when he came out last Tuesday night and what Bush did when he came out after, saying that the court usurped the power.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go to Tallahassee and talk to a man like Mo Green like that.
That's right. Because then they might wind up slapping you right back in the face.
There are 4 challenges. The Butterfly, the Seminole, and the Palm Beach recount, with Dimpled.
And Nassau.
That's the weakest one. Well, Nassau's only 52 votes.
Well, what do you mean only 52 votes? That's 10% of the difference right there.
Okay, well, I'm saying that's the weakest one, obviously. But Palm Beach Dimples and Palm Beach Butterfly, the Dade recount, etc. Even if the Supreme Court of the United States says that the recounts, manual recounts, are unconstitutional, which would be ridiculous. But if they say that, you still have the Butterfly and the 4,700 Seminoles.
Mm-hmm.
So
4,700 Seminoles can't be wrong.
Well,
that's what they say at the casino.
If we take the Republican argument on rule of law, this is what the legislature says. Each of those arguments, certainly trumps. The rule of law is in the Democrats' favor on either of those.
Mm-hmm.
So, the bottom line is they should not have gone to the court. The thing's going to wind up in the Florida Supreme Court.
Right.
They're going to have the final say. Now, what Tom DeLay does, if he does what he, and gets the House to say, this is unconstitutional, well, the Senate's got to rule also, and Gore's got the deciding vote.
Mm-hmm.
So
that is provided that what's her name in Washington, they're doing the recount on that now. She won by 1,900 votes.
Oh, she won. They declared her.
No, but they're recounting it now.
Oh, okay. Well,
All right. Well,
but the good news is it's only a machine recount. It's not a hand recount.
Let's assume that she gets in at 50-50.
Right.
If thinking people, not emotional people, because everybody who listens to Limbaugh sets the agenda. Limbaugh said yesterday, it's 60-40, the Republicans against it, how many Democrats crack? And all day long, that's all you heard.
Mm-hmm.
So who cares?
It's part of the spin. Like I said before, what difference does it make? It's the question is who really won, and do we really have the right count? Not what kind of some public opinion. That's like saying before the election, most of the polls showed that Bush was anywhere from 2 to 5 or 6 points ahead. Guess what? Did he win by 2 or 5 points? No, he did not.
Well, most of the polls showed that Gore was ahead 2 to 5 in Florida, and look what happened.
Right.
It turned out to be right.
Well,
they were right in 49 states except Florida.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Well, they couldn't count all the phony absentee ballots.
So, I mean, on any way you cut it, it's going to go to the Florida Supreme Court.
Right.
And Bush and Baker already laid their groundwork there. They already did. You got the two. You got Shaw and Quince, who are black, and you got Parente and.
I hear rumors that they got the James W. Baker dartboard they've been using. They're just chomping at the bit.
All you got to have is 4 out of 7.
Yeah.
So one of these things, that's why Gore's still fighting. People just don't think; they just react.
Well. And anybody that says he ought to give up is a quitter.
Of course.
Okay, have a great day.
Thanks, Neil.
I don't really care. 26 past, I care, but I don't care. 26 past noon at 560 WQM. Here's a guy who cares. Jeff Cohen, our good buddy at Pizza Loft. Boy, what he told us last time. I didn't say about him and Al Goldstein. I hear the two of them eloped, which is why I didn't hear from Al when we were in Amsterdam. Not one phone call, not nothing. I hear the two of them were doing stuff. Florida sucks.
Here they come to the polls. Oi! In their Mercuries, walkers, and canes to cast their vote. It's too hard to see. That's what some are complaining. There's too many holes. Should I punch it or not? Look at this ballot. It's all on the cops. It's Florida voter confusion. And this butterfly ballot they're using has got everybody's eyes crossed trying to vote. This whole election is out of control. The ballots are lost and they can't find the hole. Where did the ballot box go? Nobody knows. It's Florida voter confusion. It's Florida voter confusion. The polls are closed. Let's go home to watch network TV for returns on the final results. They say it's Gore. Wait. Not anymore. Now they say it's Bush. We've been up all night and Florida still don't seem right. 'Cause some ballots were stuck inside somebody's trunk. Thank everybody in Florida who voted for Governor Jeb. It should be very clear what happened down here. Jeb wants Georgie to win, but they're counting again. And that's how it's done. In Florida, inept, inefficient, and dumb, not to mention corrupt. Now everybody around the world knows that Florida's loaded with all the wrong holes. America's land is the land of the walking dead. It's Florida voter confusion. It's Florida voter confusion. Florida voter confusion.
Yeah, somebody show the old cocker where to stick it, okay? 12:33 at 560 WQAM. So Sandy, a fellow Maple Leaf fan, sends me a fax here. Lindros says it's Maple Leafs forever. Eric Lindros, cleared by his doctor to resume action, says Toronto is the only place he wants to play. Bobby Clark asked me to find a deal. I think things are warming up, he told a crowd of reporters after an on-ice workout Tuesday morning with former Maple Leaf Nick Kyprios. Let's hear it for Eric on the Leafs, huh? He just happened to be tied for first place in the Eastern Conference with 28 points. Also, speaking of hockey, if I can for just a few seconds, because I'm so really nauseated with this other stuff. To show you what a great town this is, I come back here. First of all, Michael Russo, you fat turd over there at the Sun Sentinel that's got his top 10 teams that he picks every week in the league. And this week leaves the Leafs out altogether. Has Tampa Bay in there because they won a couple of games. Oh, God. This place. But here's David J. Neal, the expert Schwarzer from the Herald, who allegedly writes about hockey. And he writes a thing, hockey must be family-oriented and what would bring more people out. And I'm reading the article, and I'm thinking, yeah, this is great. Not deaf in-house production, and crank the music down and give us a chance to think, and on and on. And then he says standard 7 p.m. starting time, which I'm thinking that's a good idea. Get the games earlier, especially on the weeknights, and get people out of there earlier. And then he says, exception granted for Hockey Night in Canada games, which would still start at 8 o'clock on Saturday night. So guess what? They don't start at 8 o'clock, David. They start at 7 o'clock and have for 2 seasons now. They have a doubleheader on Saturday night, David. They start at 7 o'clock on Hockey Night in Canada. You bozo, you. And this is a man who's writing what's supposed to be a real newspaper. This is the kind of information you get, not just about hockey, not just about sports, about anything here. God. I read that and I just said to myself, consider the source. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Here's Ron Klein.
Supreme Court in the Harris case set forward a standard. The standard...
Yeah, standard this. Here's Miami. Hello. Hello.
Neil?
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you something. I'm one of the new listeners to your show. And
well, we're going to have a lot of work to do, man, because all those Bush people, they went over to Lord-ass Limbaugh, so we got to build a whole audience again. We got to start from scratch. Sir?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Please put our vote, man.
Yeah.
It's a waste. It's a goddamn waste.
Yeah.
But I hope you came back fresh from your vacation.
I'm fresh. They don't come no fresh. That's what my mother says. They're no fresher than me. Good luck, pal.
And, Neil, who is really the president? Is it Bush or is it Cheney? Cheney's on TV like, this is what he's been waiting for all his life.
The real president's going to be Bush, but it's Papa Bush. You got it. Okay, pal. Stay out of the bushes. Oh, speaking of my mother. No, you're going to love this. You can't miss a second. I'm going to wait till you get that call on hold. This is the all-time best. So I come back, and I was supposed to come back to work yesterday, but I went to the doctor to get this whole thing checked out with my GERD or whatever this is, with my, thinking I was having a Dick Cheney. And I'm talking to my mother on the phone because, of course, if I don't call and alert her to the reason why George is on when she thinks I'm supposed to be back on the air, right away it's like she's got something to kvetch about. So I called her and told her about my acid reflux and about my IBS, my irritable bowel. She says, oh, you've had irritable bowel for years. She says, you know how you can tell? I said, no. By the big splash it makes when you hit the toilet. Now, this is a woman who's at least as deaf as my golden retriever, which is very deaf. But somehow, when I go to her house, and believe me, I avoid, unless I'm really desperate by the time I get there on lunch days at Mommy's, I try to avoid that function in her toilet. But somehow she's in the kitchen, I'm in the bathroom, and she can tell the sound of my hitting the water. That's kind of like the Schmidt hitting the fan. It's my Schmidt hitting the water. And she can tell by the sploosh that I have IBS.
Are you sure she's not listening at the door?
She's probably listening right at the door. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start bringing in the keychain, making some loud effects there, just for her amusement and enjoyment. Yeah, there you go. Another one. Yeah, she can tell I have irritable bowel because of the loud noise, the big splash that makes in the toilet. See, one good thing in Amsterdam on my split-level toilet, it don't make no splash. Because you can't splash on ceramic, whatever that stuff is, on porcelain. No, it's got to, before it hits the water, yeah, it's got to sit there on the ledge and think about it before it goes sliding on down to wherever it goes. Probably the canals. Oh, yeah. You ever seen the canals in Amsterdam? Brown. I mean brown as... 567, that's my mother. That is my mother. In fact, this is the same mother who's telling me that it's criminal to have my little dog is so constipated. Why won't I please give him some different kind of dog food? Because even a dog shouldn't have to be that constipated. See, just in case you don't know, that's what it's all about, getting old. That becomes the most important thing in your life is bowel movements, bowel talk. 21 till 1 at 560 WQAM.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Lick it and stick it. I'm a stumpy fat asshole. My legs just didn't grow. I don't know where my pee-pee's hiding. Got cheese in my toes. Thistle through my nose. I'm on the Ben & Jerry's diet. Too fat to reach my hole, but I'm on the toilet bowl. And from the butt I'm wiping, and as far as exercising goes, I prefer loose-fitting clothes. There just ain't no point in trying, 'cause I ain't got nobody. I'm just fat and squatty. I eat more than I gotta. And I drive a Miata. I ain't got nobody. But I got handicapped parking, and I use the gimp scooters in the store to cruise through the aisles with food samples. But they're usually pretty good until they start serving the shred-up crackers. I find fish put unappealing, because you don't know what's in there. It could be fish that fell on the floor. Good thing they invented clothes to hide my rolls. I ain't got nobody. I occasionally have to go to the feed store to buy bovine lubricant. Of course, I bleed from the chafing. To put it on, I have to squat, but it's nice when I got to slap on my crotch, boys.
12:45 at 560. That was one of my highlights in my 10 days in Amsterdam. Didn't hear once from Fat Al. Well, that was great, a real surprise. Did I mention about Ken Malden? I guess I did just briefly. Here's the memo. I'm very honored to announce the QAM MVP for October. Ken Malden, writes Greg Reed. Ken, as you know, is one of our esteemed reporters, very reliable, puts in long hours, a solid professional whom we know we can always count on. Ken is one of those unheralded QAM sports guys that makes this station work. I, for one, and you all should be proud to work with such an experienced and solid broadcaster as Ken Malden. We can all learn lots from him. Ken will receive a $200 bonus or a WQAM pin for his achievement. Please join me in congratulating Ken Malden as the QM October Employee of the Month, signed Greg, with the 85 squiggles after the name. I asked a handwriting expert about that. He says that is a sign of a deep-seated inferiority complex. Yeah, which is why I brought those capsules back. Those retard capsules from Amsterdam. You think they'll help?
No.
5670560. How's Ray Perry doing? Here's a mobile implantation. Hello.
Joe Costello for Employee of the Month.
Yeah, next month.
Neil, what happens if the Gore campaign wins the legal challenges and the recount shows that he's ahead, but the Secretary of State, the Bush co-chairman of Florida, Katherine Harris, refuses to certify the election?
Well, the state Supreme Court would overrule her on that.
Can the state Supreme Court force her to sign it?
Of course.
Okay. Well,
but then the problem is then the legislature can, I mean, the possibilities here are endless. The legislature can screw it up by appointing different electors. The Congress can screw it all up. I mean, there are no ends in sight to this.
But in order to meet for a special session of the legislature, they need 2/3 of the legislature to go along with it. And right now, they're 2 votes short in both houses.
Yeah.
So how can that happen?
Let's cross that bridge when we get to it.
Okay.
Okay? Gird yourself. 567, that's our motto for the rest of this whole soap opera. Gird yourself. 5670560, pound 560. I think we just ought to sign off from 1 to 3. I mean, they're all listening to Lardass anyway. See, this is where you get a really good unbiased view over there. Yeah, on Lardass show. Mr. Paranoia. Here's a mobile in Boca. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how's it going?
Okay.
Welcome back, friend.
Thank you.
You know, I keep hearing how all these Republicans are saying left and right, oh, the Democrats want to rewrite the laws, Democrats want to rewrite the laws. But aren't they the ones who's actually rewriting the laws when they stop the recounts every turn, every corner we go around, they stop the recounts, and they're just doing everything they can to impede the truth coming out?
Yeah.
I mean, this is ridiculous. It's just, and then they've got everybody so brainwashed, nobody really steps back to see what the truth is. You know, you got these national syndicated shows like Rush Limbaugh, and you got this Giddy Libby out there spouting all this crap out, and everybody listens to them because they're syndicated shows,
Who do we have? Who do the Democrats have?
Well, but you say everybody listens to them. Who listens to them in this market? Before this last couple of months now, before this election business, Rush Limbaugh couldn't buy ratings in this market. He's been on here for at least 10, 12 years, never could buy ratings in midday, and now all of a sudden in the last month, we get this trend that just came out a few days ago, and now he's gone through the roof because all the Bush people wanted to tune into somebody who's going to reinforce all this paranoid right-wing bullcrap. That's all they want to hear.
Well, it just goes to show you that people just want to believe what they want to believe.
Right,
They don't want to
exactly.
see the truth. All right, Neil, have a good day.
And back to you. See, and at least one thing, sure, I've been supporting Gore and bashing the hell out of Bush, but I told you right from the beginning, all four of them suck on both tickets. I'm not going to sit here and pretend. I mean, I'm embarrassed by Gore. That performance last night, they showed on this CNN thing now, what do they call this show again? The Rich Harry Show? No, this damn thing here at 12:30 every day with Greta and Roger. Burden of proof. And they showed at the beginning a clip from that wooden speech of his last night. Who's doing his makeup? They make him up. In fact, when you get on the tram in Amsterdam and you get close to the damn square, there's a place called, it's a Madame Tussauds, but it's not called Wax Museum, it's called something or other. There's a Madame Tussauds. I swear that's where they're getting the makeup from, to make him up before they put him on the air. He looks like a wax dummy. He looks like a wooden cigar store Indian. He's got the personality of a goddamn pencil, of an eraser. So who the hell ever made a great case for him? He was the buffer. He was the one that was supposed to keep the dangerous one out of there, that's all. And it looks like he's still going to blow it. He still couldn't do it. With all the good stuff he had going for him, with 8 years of great prosperity, with all these economic boom times, low unemployment, all the good stuff going on, he still looks like he's going to fumble it through his fingers. And wasn't it great, that Kennedy-esque performance of his, throwing the football around? Remember that a couple of weeks ago? His only public appearance for several days there, playing one of those family football games, a la the Kennedys there. Who the hell is he kidding? $567-0560. I'm just sitting here thinking how ridiculous it is to compare him to a Kennedy. I mean, no matter how much banging and clanging the Kennedy and drinking and whatever they were doing, John Kennedy had more charisma in his fingernail than Al Gore's got in his whole body. And they're doing a Kennedy family football game out there? Who are you people kidding? Here's a mobile in Parkland. Hello.
Hey, Neil. Welcome back, buddy.
Thanks.
Hey, George is great, but you are the man.
I'm the man, yeah.
Hey, listen, I was talking to a customer of mine in Montreal today.
Uh-huh.
He was telling me about a little local publication they have in Montreal.
Yeah.
And it says, our southern neighbors say they have a problem with the election. Gore's not the president. Bush is not the president. So what's the problem?
Yeah.
What do you think? That's it.
Okay, great, thanks. Come to drink some more Pepsi. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Montreal sucks. Maybe the city doesn't, just the people there. Here's North Miami Beach. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
And their hockey team. Yes, sir.
All right. I hear you got GERD also, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, so do I. What are you doing about it?
Prilosec.
No, I'm on Pepsi C twice to 3 times a day. It's a lot cheaper and it works.
No, wait a minute. What kind of a conversation is this? You said,
I'm serious.
What are you doing about it? I told her, first of all, cheaper. My doctor gave me samples yesterday, so it was free, which is what I like the best.
That's good, because I couldn't afford the Prilosec because it got too damn expensive with the Pepsi AC.
Well, how long do you have to take it? Forever?
Damn straight. That's what I'm doing right now. But also, I've cut out tomatoes and chocolate.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that a bitch? Tomatoes and chocolate?
And citrus along with orange juice. So, hey, that's what I got to cut out if I don't want to get sick. And let me tell you, it was like once a month. And even when I had my heart attack last year, I'm only in my 40s.
You had a heart attack?
Yeah, I called you a few months back when I was on my way from the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a heart attack last year, and I was having this GERD BS, you know, so hey.
So in other words, that stuff can, why do you get a heart attack? Can it cause one?
Well, I can't say for certain if that caused it or not. I had clogged arteries, so, you know.
No, I don't have clogged arteries.
Well, I had clogged arteries, but I was still getting sick even after, and I still do, you know. But ever since I started taking the Pepsi AC, and I do use Rolaids as well.
How about Tums?
No, don't like Tums.
Why not?
I tried Tums, but, it's all the same. It's antacid.
Yeah, well, Tums worked for me the other day. I took a couple of Tums. It was great. It was like a miracle.
Well...
Plus, they taste better. Rolaids taste like chalk.
Well, hey, you gotta have a taste for it. That's the only thing, you know.
But cut out the tomatoes, which is a fat, because the doctor even told me that. Cut the tomatoes and cut the chocolate and cut the citrus. Because I was drinking a lot of citrus. Even after I had my heart attack, I was still getting sick. And I didn't know why until I went to the doctor, and they finally told me this is why.
That's what my doctor told me. Get rid of your citrus.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't own that stock. I own, what the hell was it? UIS, or USI, UIS, Unisys?
Yeah.
Unisys, yeah. Anyways, that's what you need to do.
Okay, I'll do it. Pepsid AC.
Good luck.
Thanks. And back to you. See, all us fellow GERD sufferers, we got to stick together. And this guy had a heart attack. See that? Because I'm wondering if that pressure that all that stuff puts on in there, it's probably not good. Puts pressure on your organs. 5670560, pound 560. And of course, when you're overweight, your organs are oversized to begin with, you know. And when even the literature the doctor gave me, it talks about laying down in certain positions, because when you're overweight and when you're carrying all that fat around, and you lay down like in all the like organs kind of like squished together, not good. Here's the mobile in Fort Myers. Hello.
Good afternoon, Neil.
Yes,
nice
sir.
to have you back. Listen, at 30, I had to have my gallbladder removed.
Well, I had mine out.
I'm a 43-year-old male. It is diet, Neil. My gastroenterologist, if I said that right, told me three things cause it. It's alcohol, caffeine, and nicotine.
Okay, I don't smoke, I don't drink, and I don't eat anything with caffeine. So,
excellent.
yeah.
The last thing he told me was I'll probably never be able to eat like a York peppermint patty the rest of my life. It just fires me up. I couldn't eat cereal and milk without getting heartburn bad.
Mm-hmm. Don't eat cereal, don't eat milk, and do definitely not eat York peppermint patties.
I just wanted to make a comment. While you were gone, George did an excellent job. The phones were smoking, and George too, Neil. And one more comment. That Katherine here looks like she got her face painted at Earl sides.
Okay. Hey, for 1995, though, not bad. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line out of town. Is 877-7856. Are we still on the air in Fort Myers? I forgot to ask that.
5 more minutes, probably.
No, I don't. This is the hour that we're not.
Yeah, so we're not.
Well, I'm a little bit over here, a little bit over there. It's the Beasley effing way. They wouldn't know a radio if you're stuffing up their ass. The Beasleys.
Although I heard they like that whole laughing idea.
What's that? Oh, yeah. So, Ed Kaplan, I want to get you nervous, Eddie, because he needs the job. But we got some. Maybe Eddie can put on a skull cap. And he can pray for to cover the spread.
Oh!
Yeah, we can have like a religious sports show. Baruch atah Adonai, we need another touchdown, cover the spread.
Oh!
Yeah, something like that. If it's good enough for Waffen, it's good enough for us. See, now, you know, their checks may be bouncing over there, but at least they get them. So you can't have everything. 1256 at 560. WQ. That's what George is thinking. Thinking maybe they're not cashing, but at least it looks promising when you get it in your hand in the check too.
At least this company doesn't make up crap like we changed bank accounts or we put the wrong zip code on the FedEx.
Right. No, the Beasleys would never come up with a cockamamie lie like that.
Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami, Fort Lauderdale, a Beasley Broadcast Group station. WQAM.com for the world.
Oh boy, it's the 1 to 2 hour.
I had to buy a Cadillac, a big stinking coupe. I wish I had my money back. It don't do much good standing still. Those rackets down the desert way, those really selling off. Let the deal with the oil land, and now we're getting robbed. Look at me, that's right there. Oh, and rob, oh, and rob. That's right there. Oh, and rob, oh, and rob. If we'd only grow a pair of balls, we could stop this crappy day. Fire up the jet fighter and blow those towel heads away. I ain't gonna drop these cats right there. Bossy A-Rap, bossy A-Rap. That's right there. Bossy A-Rap, bossy A-Rap. Look at these cats right there. Bossy A-Rap.
102 at 560 WQAM. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Here's Weston. Hello.
Oh, did you say Weston?
That's what I said.
Oh, okay. Hey, listen, first of all, George did a great job.
Yes, he did.
Second of all, this election, what it reminds me of is in a football game where there's a questionable play. You want to hurry up and snap the ball.
Right, that's what I said. That's what I said before I left.
Right, you want to hurry up and get it off
before they get the next playoff, right?
And that's exactly what Bush is doing because he's got his transition team, and he's going on like he's already won the thing, and I can't see how he can justify that.
Well, because they're trying to go through the motions of what they're doing is playing a psychological game with the public, and it's working. And that is by posturing and saying, we won, and it's all over with, and the vote was certified, and now we're going into we're going to raise money to go to our own building, do our transition thing, and they're going through the motions of taking over, and the game ain't over yet.
Absolutely ridiculous. And it looks like we're going to have a scumbag for president for the next 4 years.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time.
Well, okay. All right, thanks, Neil.
Good luck to us.
All right.
5670560, pound 560. Now, what's going to happen like 6 months after he gets in? And then the story about that abortion comes out? The Larry Flint story, with a woman, which we had the name, all these things.
Indiscretion should not be made an issue.
Oh, that's true.
They're not relevant to, especially sexual foibles.
Right. And especially cocaine, stuff like that. Here's a lady in Plantation. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. And welcome back.
Thanks.
And George did do an excellent job while you were gone. I just wanted to comment that the Florida legislature bears close watching. They formed a joint House and Senate committee, apparently strictly for the purpose of seating their own 25 electors to the Electoral College.
Mm-hmm.
The Republicans want to guarantee that George W. Bush gets the Florida electoral vote.
Mm-hmm.
It's outrageous.
No, I mean, like I said, this is his brother's state, and if the fix was going to be anywhere, this was going to be it.
Unbelievable. But they do bear close watching in this never-ending saga of changing times.
I think this election is responsible for my GERD.
Well, eat right and get better.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm filing a lawsuit. It's going to be a GERD suit against the damn Bush people. They're tearing my kishkis out. In fact, against both of them. And all you old Jews up there in Palm Beach County that voted for James Buchanan, shame on you, man. Shame on you. How many write-in votes did Ray Perry get? 56705. Yeah, let's get Al Sunshine to go up there to Palm Beach County and start flailing those ham hocks in the air. Shame on you. Shame on you for being so goddamn dumb. Man. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Neil. How you doing?
Okay.
Just calling about Prilosec. Greatest stuff ever made.
Is it?
I'm a big fat slob, and I went in with the same thing, and they went through my heart. Heart's fine. He prescribed me Prilosec. I think it's like $1 million a pill, though. The stuff is
now, let me ask you this question. I don't want to, this will bore the audience, but, we have to commiserate with each other. When you have this stuff, do you have it like in the upper chest, like on the sides of the heart? Like,
Absolutely. It was pressure all throughout my chest. It wasn't like pain, but it was enough pressure and discomfort that I thought it was a prelude to a heart attack.
Right, exactly. Now we're talking.
Okay, and the Prilosec, I'm telling you, it takes probably 15 days to start working if you're taking it regularly, and it's a dream. I mean, I went through the whole thing for 30 days, and I'm back to drinking beer and eating chicken wings and being a big fat slob again.
All right.
And it doesn't bother me.
Okay, thanks for the good news. Keep it up.
In closing,
yes,
Pat was down south. Major douchebag.
Who is it?
Pat was down south.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks. See, there's a guy that knows what I'm talking about. We got to commiserate with each other. It's the doctor show, which is a lot. Like I said before, it has to do with our real lives, as opposed to all this other stuff, which is good for killing a lot of time, get everybody whipped up into a frenzy, whether it's Alien or OJ or the election, the bogus election with the wooden candidates, the wooden and drunken and orthodox candidates. Boy, he is just, I mean, the most simpering, whimpering, pathetic, embarrassing, humiliating troglodyte. He's just pathetic. Well, Tim, I think you're right. And let me say this, not that I have disrespect for people in the military, but what makes their vote so much more important than somebody else who's overseas? How about veterans whose votes got screwed up like in Palm Beach? Maybe some of those old Yidlach up there fought in the war. Huh? You ever think about that?
No.
No, I didn't think so. Neither did James Baker. But all of a sudden, if you're in the military, then your vote is so much more important, and we have to make all kinds of exceptions and stand on our head to make sure that your vote gets counted. And these are the same people that talk about how votes are going to be more important than other people's votes. Yeah, if they recount the votes, it's going to be illegal because it makes your vote more important than mine? Well, how about if you're in the military and you get some special exemption, but if you're some slob that's living over there like in Amsterdam and all drugged up like Al Goldstein and you send an absentee ballot, then, it's not going to count if you don't have a thing on there, a postmark, or you didn't sign it, or you just scrawled it and they can't read it because you're stoned out of your mind, crawling around on the ground in a glory hole there. 5, 6, I can just envision him in the dark room at the Adonis. I can just see it now. Oh, man. In fact, you know when I started getting this grid? When he brought in those new pictures of him in Screw Magazine. Here's a mobile in Fort Myers. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how's it going?
All right.
Hey, for the people who don't know, over here, South Fort Myers and Fort Myers, you can get 560 on the radio.
Right, probably better than that piece of crap 770.
Yeah, and in North Fort Myers, it's a little staticky, but you can listen. It works all right. Just in closing, George did a good job, but he didn't do any shows about eating ass. What's up with that?
Oh, that's next vacation. 10-part series. 5, 6, 7. Oh, in fact, he's going to be talking about eating Cuban ass on the next. Which kind of give a little bit of a different flavor to it. Yeah, I heard the real reason that Al hangs out. I don't want to go into it on the air about Crystal. That he's got his eyes set on your wife
and daughter. Waiting patiently.
And he's got about as much chance to get even close to either one of them. I think he's really got his sights set on Jeff Cohen, like I said before. I think seriously, I see a lot of similarities there. I think those two would make a lovely couple.
He's into back hair.
He's into the back what? 9 minutes. I thought you were going to say backside. 9 minutes after 1 at 560 WQA. What was that?
Rejoin, I thought. Want me to play it again?
What did it say? Well, I was busy listening to Judicial Watch. Is busy re-examining the ballots in Palm Beach County. Larry Clayman and he's going from Judicial Watch.
Best of Neil Rogers, 2000.
They rotate.
So what the hell are we doing here? It says Gore statement expected shortly on CNN. Some kind of like between a rock and a hard place.
This is Rush Limbaugh, servant of humanity, talk show host, hemorrhoid sufferer. Folks, at over 300 pounds, I know the agony of this kind of dilemma. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you there's help. With new Preparation Rush and my Rush to Excellence suppositories. Now you can end the pain and itching of hemorrhoidal tissue. Just look for my picture on the box of suppositories and the applicator tube. Another fine product from OIB, the Obesity in Broadcasting Network.
Okay, thanks, Fat Ass. It's 1:14 at 560 WQM. Gore statement expected shortly. Excited about that? So Judicial Watch, they're busy potchking around, and they got poor Teresa Lepore, who, just before they're going to give her the final lethal injection, she has to be up there to supervise while these people have come in. And now they're examining ballots, and they want to do the same thing in all 67 counties all over the state. So let's just form a whole bunch of different groups, and we'll say, well, we're a bunch of civic activists, and we want to come in and take a peek and see the ballots too. Here's Coconut Creek, rhymes with peak. Hello, Coconut Creek, long gone, probably expired up there. Here's Margate, close by. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to talk about this Teresa Lepore.
Yeah, bitch.
Yeah, first of all, she claims to be a Democrat. But she was the one that designed that butterfly ballot.
I just can't stand that slut.
Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, they decide, she's on the board that decides to take off for Thanksgiving to stop the counting, and then falls 2 hours short of being able to count all the ballots Sunday.
Bitch. Yeah, how come it is that in Broward County, wait a minute, how come in Broward County they were able to work on Thanksgiving to get people to volunteer since they felt it was more important than eating a little bit extra turkey?
Because the same bitch that designed the ballots also was one of the three that sat on the board that made that decision.
I just can't stand that slut.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how smart people are out there, but it doesn't seem that they're able to connect these dots. It's really very frustrating. I called up a couple of people who claim to be friendly with this Lepore, and they're Democrats. They say, oh, she's a wonderful person. She's a hard worker. She's, she really has her heart in the right place. But, man, something really stinks bad.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. I mean, she deserves a lot of blame, but how about the Democrats and Republicans who approved that form of the ballot?
She was the one.
No, she designed it.
No, she approved.
No, she couldn't approve it. It has to be approved by members of both political parties in Tallahassee. It was approved at the state level by Democratic and Republican representatives both.
Neil, at this point, I'll tell you something.
Sir, you're not listening to me. I'm just telling you that those people are got to be dumber than dirt as well.
Either dumb or corrupt.
You're giving them too much credit.
No, not really, because I don't trust anybody.
Okay, have a great day. See, this is the problem when you get too much information and you start like manufacturing things out of it and you don't mind. And he's just discarding whatever he doesn't like and making up theories, conspiracy theories, as in 5, 6, 7. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Hillary didn't have something to do with all of this. That's what Rush will be talking about tomorrow, probably. All the Bush people that we used to have are over there now listening to all these hysterical, paranoid conspiracy theories. So anybody else that's got conspiracy theories, call up Rush. We don't want to hear them. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Look at that. Booker Bryan looks the same as he did before I left. Bald. At least he ditched that stupid wig anyway. He's starting to look like, what's her name? Katherine Harris. All you need is the eyelashes. Okay, we got 700 open lines here right now. See, all I had to do was say that Gore's going to be making a statement momentarily, and right away half the lines disappear. They're all running to CNN. We'll have it on here for you. Just relax. Here's Sweetwater. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I can't figure this out with the Cuban people.
Okay, good. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. If you want to talk about Cubans, call up Rush.
I figured out my Cuban thing.
Here's South Miami. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Okay.
Listen, Neil, before I get you angry, because I'm not going to suck up about George, would you be good enough to play country version Sometimes I Feel? And also, as far as George goes, he's a wonderful person, but he's a pseudo-intellectual pinhead, and I'd rather listen to Bill McQuaid do Trivial Pursuit on Fridays like he used to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and other than that, I call him Esteban Kane. Have a great day.
What?
Esteban Kane?
What is that?
Okay, Steve Kane and Spick Shot all at once.
Oh, Steve. Oh, well, he's a talk show. Well, forget about that. Forget about it. Just consider the source. All those light bulb people. I'll give you Norm Kent's cell phone number, okay? You can call and reminisce with him about old times on the light bulb.
This is notwithstanding, the Bush team is moving full steam ahead with the...
Yeah, we got your steam right over here. I can smell it. 5670560. Let's get the show on the road here, okay? Let's get going. If you like what George did, like I've always told you before, fine. Listen, enjoy it. If you don't like it, fine, and go somewhere else. I'm not interested, one way or the other. I take the check regardless.
Bill Marshall.
He didn't say Bill Marshall. He said Bill McQuaid.
Oh, Bill McQuaid.
I don't even know who that was. Oh, you know who Bill McQuaid was?
Yeah, I remember.
On IOD.
Yes. So he's naming all the old...
Yeah, he's an old talk show groupie. Next he'll be talking about Bill Smith. This guy's probably got a Sidlevin blow-up doll. Yeah, he probably has Shirley Spellerberg's home phone number. Get out of here, you jackass. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Yeah, how you doing, Neil?
Doing good.
I wanted to get your opinion on the telephone conference with Gore and Daschle and Gephardt yesterday. I thought it was a joke.
Can I give you my opinion?
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem with Gore, is just that he just can't communicate with that. He can't talk like a regular person.
He hasn't got it. He does not have it.
And he just seems so insecure to try to talk to the people as a regular human being, as opposed to reading.
He has all the warmth of an Arctic ice cap. He just doesn't have it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, long-time listener, second-time caller. Keep it up. Love your show.
Thanks, pal. We'll survive it. That's all I can tell you. I mean, the one guy's a moron. He comes on there looking like the deer in the headlights. Oh, we won. We're getting ready. We're moving in. We won. And he looks like terrified. scared to death. And then we got the other guy that's standing like a statue, like I said, like somebody out of Madame Tussauds Cinerama, I think they call it, by that damn square. You can't say that damn square on the road, just by that goddamn square in Amsterdam, okay? Man. Oh, and you'll be pleased to know you'd be very, very happy about this since you like that crap music. Like you're trying to relive your teenage years again, that Limp Bizkit crap.
I don't listen to kiddie bands.
Limp Bizkit. But anyway, you'll be pleased to know that in Amsterdam they don't bleep out. Since all of his records now have come down to repetition of one word, which we never hear anyway because it's always, yeah. But in Amsterdam they don't bleep out the F. It's just repeated over and over again. Excellent. You see, because they really understand what freedom is about, as opposed to this constipated goddamn country where you maybe can still take a crap, but you sure as hell can't say it. And even if you do take a crap, make sure it don't hit the water too loud, because Mom's probably listening at the door. I just want you to stop and think about that story. Forget about the election. Forget about my GERD. Forget about all this other stuff. Just think about my mother making a comment about how loud my hit the water. And this is a woman who is always talking about how deaf she's getting. Who puts on the act she can't hear what you're saying. But somehow, miraculously, in her kitchen, which is many feet away from her toilet, where occasionally I have an experience when it's desperate time, she can hear she's probably got a Richter scale in there. She's probably got it rigged up in there. A Richter scale. Oh, that must have been a bad one. You're a crazy person. Here's a mobile in Cutler Ridge. Hello.
Yeah, hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I just moved down not too long ago before the election.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. But what I don't understand is the lady that was calling earlier about the butterfly ballot.
Yeah.
Doesn't the state of Florida prohibit butterfly ballots?
Well, it doesn't prohibit it per se in those words, but it prohibits it says that there has to, the names have to be all on one page. It says that you have to vote to the right of the whole must be to the right of the name. Right,
and these butterfly ballots, they were to the right and to the left.
Right.
So that's like...
I agree with you. You're preaching to the choir, sir. I agree with you. To me, it's an illegal ballot.
Exactly. I don't care if the Republicans and the Democrats both approved of it.
Right.
It should have never went through.
That is absolutely
Gore won the
correct.
election.
What is it?
In my eyes and in my heart, Gore won Florida.
I believe it. Good luck to us, pal. Okay, our poll, who should rightfully be next president, based on your humble opinion out there? We underline the humble part. Gore, 213, 67.5%. Bush, 103, 32.5%, 316 votes so far on our survey today. Keeping in mind that now that it's 1:25 in the afternoon, that most of the Bush people over there would preparation rush. That's the most nauseating. See, it's the same thing all the time. They want to hear their own stupid cockeyed views reinforced. And here's somebody that they couldn't give a crap less about 99% of the year, for all the years that he's been on. But now all of a sudden they're all rallying around. Like the day I told you, I pulled up to the mobile station that day to get gas on Flamingo there. And here's a guy, one of my listeners, young guy in his 20s, 30s. Got his pickup truck there gassing up, and he's got the radio on so loud you can hear those stentorian, paranoid, right-wing tones coming out of the radio. And as I'm walking in to go get my soda or whatever I'm getting, my Ben & Jerry's. Oh, sorry, Neil, I'm listening to Rush. And I thought to myself, you're not half as sorry as I am, sir. You're not half as sorry as I am. Even the Doberman in the back of his pickup was like trying to cover its ears, wincing. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Great.
Listen, last week on either CNN or MSNBC, they reported that Shepard Smith of the Fox News report...
Shepard Smith makes me want to puke. Yes, sir.
He ran over some guy for taking a parking space from him.
Really? They probably learned it from Rick Sanchez back in his Channel 7 days.
Maybe they went to the same driving school.
Could be. I think just to serve him right, this coming weekend we ought to have Ted Kennedy drive them both home.
Well, I was going to recommend that we take the three of them the next time the Cubans are protesting and laying down in the street blocking traffic.
Yeah, there you go.
We take all three of them, get them real liqukered up.
Drive the limos in the arcade, right.
And let them drive on the same street where they're laying in traffic.
Excellent idea.
That's it. Just welcome back, and George did a great job while you're gone.
Thank you. Even though that talk show groupie that called before says George is a pinhead and a pseudo-intellectual. You're right about that. You are right about the pseudo-intellectual part, but I mean pinhead. Come on. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon. See, it's just, it goes with the territory. Bill McQuaid. I mean, who would even remember who the hell that is? I had a better chance this morning of remembering Ray Perry than Bill McQuaid, and I haven't got any idea who Ray Perry is, even now, even though he was in here. God. Oh, wait a minute. Here's Drew Lieberman.
You can possibly have strategy. We're focused on simply counting the votes, and we're working now according to the schedule that the part of the Supreme Court set up.
Get out of here. You make me want to barf. Look at that. He's got like a little circle U on his forehead there just to make sure we know that everything he says is kosher. Cox ahoy, Drew Lieberman. You cost us the election, you foul-bitten. 26. Oh, look at that. Boca's got his yarmulke. Good. Thank God for that, because he'd have gotten really upset.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560. QAM.
So you're back.
The right wing stole the election from me, but my last chance for a recount will be David Boyd. David Boyd. Talking about David Boyd. Yes. David Boyd. Master Earth will now be the leader of the world, thanks to Gabby Harris, Jed's little girl. Yes, David Boyd. I need David Boyd. Help me, David Boyd. Go make some legal noise. Talking about David Boyd now. Talking about David Boyd now. Yeah. David Boyd. Yeah. David Boyd. David Boyd now. And make some legal noise. David Boyd. While David Jr. was sitting at the children's section during Thanksgiving. After first.
132 at 560 WQAM. Gore to speak shortly is what they keep telling us. Any second now. Are you waiting? Wait, just sit tight. Hang on to it real tight, and we'll let you know when to let go. Gore team files emergency motion to resume Dade count. Oh! It's just you know, like a gigantic snowball. That's like an avalanche. How are they doing, by the way? Here's the mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I got a question. With all this hoopla going on,
hoopla, that's a good word for it.
Who is paying for all the legal fees for both parties?
Well, we just got through that before, that the parties are paying for it, but also the state of Florida legislature decided that the state's going to intervene on behalf, there's a friend of the court on behalf of one of the Republican lawsuits, so that's going to cost the Florida taxpayers $60,000 so far, just for starters.
No! You didn't give me that one.
What is it?
I can't believe it.
Well, what do you mean you can't believe it? How much do you think it's going to cost the taxpayers to pay all these people? I mean, there were some volunteers, but there were a lot of other... Right. Well said. He said something about Ray Kroc. What does that say? Florida Supreme Court taking bribes or taking briefs? They're wearing briefs? Yeah, wouldn't that be great? They get up there in front of the Supreme Court, boxers or briefs. Then, of course, what the hell do the women say on there? 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T. See, you people are taking this all too serious. I don't know what's wrong with you people. Lighten up a little bit, especially you Schwarzers out there. Lighten up several shades. God. Walking around looking like Idi Amin Dada. Here's Oakland Park. Hello.
Hey, just wanted to tell you, I think it's very unfair that they're criticizing the Bush family. They bought the election, they paid for it, and they should have it.
Yeah, okay, they stole it fair and square. Okay. Very original. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon Wireless line. See, the sad part of it is a lot of people you hear calling this show all the time, like this last one, they voted. These people actually voted. Somebody actually drove them there, yanked them out of their car, stuffed them in front of the goddamn thing, punched the hole for them, and they voted. They cast it. Here's Representative Jim Moran, Democrat of...
Felt that he was losing this contest because of these kinds of irregularities. He would be fighting just as hard to see that justice was served.
F&A, baby.
Also want to talk to you next hour when we come back about the a large undercount in Palm Beach County, which they're upset about because they think those are the votes for Gore that are out there, and also the confusion over the ballot, which resulted in a large overvote. I said undercount, I meant undervote. A large overvote also. That is multiple.
How about like an overhang? Overbite? Is that what he's trying to say, overbite?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, somebody's got a big overbite. Probably that Carol Roberts. They see a big overbite and huge eyelashes. She makes that Katherine hair, that Secretary of Bush, pale into insignificance. I'm serious. They ought to, like, line the two of them up, just have them, like, draw a line on the floor there at the Palm Beach joint, and have them, like, rub eyelashes together and see who's fall off first. And then say, and whoever wins, that's it. Like, wouldn't the flip of the coin be a lot less stressful than all of this? I think it's bad for my GERD. Here's Hialeah. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
The reason I called is because I wanted to point out something about this guy Roscoe from Montana.
Yes.
One of the reasons he's been on so much on MSNBC, CNN, whatever, is because he's one of Bush's candidates for Attorney General.
Mm-hmm.
Shocking. And secondly,
isn't that interesting that the Secretary of Bush here, too, who wants to be an ambassadorship, all of these people who are just looking for a nice plush job and appointment in the Bush administration just happen to be running around being his lackeys now. What a coincidence.
Yeah, well, if I had my way, I'd send her to Yugoslavia as ambassador there. But I don't. There's a second point I want to point out. I was watching Channel 23 last night, the Spanish news.
See.
And they had one of their Republican analysts on there, of course, speaking Spanish. And this guy made a comment that if you're a Schwarzer, you got to be up in arms about it. But since it's in Spanish, and most of them don't understand it, they allow this stuff on TV. He basically said, "What do you want? All the coloreds, or the other word that's pretty straight out racist." He said that, and I just couldn't believe they televised this sort of stuff.
You want all the coloreds what? I don't understand. What's the...
Negro? He was making a comment about the votes.
Black. No.
No, I'll say, he was making a comment about the votes, and he's saying, I don't know why the Democrats are crying. After all the coloreds or niggers went out and voted for them. And that's just...
Well, but that's Spanish language media in this town. They can say whatever the hell they want.
But, I mean, these are the people who...
I mean, if I say coon and I'm just joking about it, right away people get all bent out of shape.
But it's just that this is the mentality.
Oh, I'm not joking.
This is the mentality of the people who are going to be in the White House now.
Yeah.
It's just disturbing.
Well, maybe someday he will meet one up real close. And get a what. Okay, thanks for the good news. 567-0560, pound 560. Can I get a what?
No.
Oh. Gore's going to speak any second. It looks like Lou Waters to me.
George Bush.
Yeah. Too much Bush. I've been telling you for years, too much Bush is a bad thing. Just like Jesse says, stay out of the bushes. And here's Papa Bush.
That she wouldn't watch the television, and for a while she wouldn't let me watch the television. We had the debate, one of the last primary debates, and this is a true story. She said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going in to watch our son debate." So I don't want to listen to it. Fine. So I went in.
Oh, man. It's Papa Bush. In fact, next thing, W is just going to disappear in the background. It's going to be Papa Bush and Dick. Yeah, and then the W just disappear. He'll go out and play video games. Try and take long naps. 21 before 2 at 560 WQ. In fact, he actually said, though, that now that they think that they've won, he will go to Washington, D.C. if somebody will show him where it is on the map.
Come on, Neil, you can do better than that.
Precincts are black, but we're not counting that. We'll throw those ballots away. We don't want no more counting states, so what else can we do? They voted for a Jew. That won't do. Counties are right. We've already been out. The count stops and falls. What you got to see is Jeb for me. Keep all the all night long. All these things. Those three things are black. We're not counting that. Everyone go away. There ain't no canvassing today. If you will advise to stop counting if you don't want nothing to happen to you. God bless you.
Yeah, that wasn't no mob. That was just a bunch of angry Republicans. It's 1:45 at 560 WQAM. 567. Here's Norm Kent, who evidently heard that guy, that light bulb fan, and is desperate and frustrated and wants to be back on the air again, and sends me all of this stuff on the internet for me to read on the air. And the answer, Norm, is no. Go back and get your client freed, whether that murderer or whatever he is, and cut the crap. 56705. Here's a call. Yeah, right. A call from Israel. Hello.
Why wouldn't I call you up after 12 years of not speaking to you?
I don't know.
Didn't get my fax, did you?
No.
You have no idea what this is?
Yes, I do. It's the Chronic from INZ. What do we used to call you?
Chronic from INZ?
Right.
No, that was Lee Fowler. You're mistaken.
No, the Chronic caller that we used to have at INZ at night. What other we used to call you?
I'm not going to say that again. It's not.
But that's who this is, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How about you? How about you?
I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Now, you a member of the Mossad yet, or what are you doing over there?
I'm a private investigator.
Yeah, like I said, I knew it. How do you like that? I'll probably call to check up on Jew Lieberman.
Probably no. We're waiting to see. Maybe Barack is resigning right now. He's giving a speech. He could be going home.
Yeah, I see on CNN here they're saying that they're voting on dissolving the cabinet.
No. He's resigning. He's resigning.
Oh, he is resigning. Well, that's good.
Maybe.
That's
We're
good.
not sure yet.
That could be good. It could be bad. You know.
Boy.
Just as long as they keep all those Farbissen out.
No, that's okay. No, whoever's here, nothing's going forward, so that's okay.
You're right about that.
We're stuck in the middle.
As long as you got all those schmata heads running around.
Well,
on both sides.
They're growing in number, by the way.
At least the one good thing about the Arabs is they're circumcised anyway. That's good.
How do you know?
That's the rumor.
They're just going by rumors, are you?
I was just over there. I was just in Amsterdam. I checked them all out.
Okay, well, when are you coming to Israel?
I'm not.
You're not coming to Israel?
When God releases the next plague of the locusts, that's when I'm coming to Israel.
Oh, we already had that last week.
Okay, Zygazet, amigo.
Okay,
good hearing from you. Back to you. Okay. How do you like that? He's so like an adult now. He used to be what the hell did we used to call him at night on INZ? Chronic. I mean, maniac, just out of control. And then he went over there and he became like a real person. Yeah, you heard him. He's real. Where are we going? Here's a mobile in Palm Beach County. Hello. Palm Beach County.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Bill, how you and George doing?
We're doing okay, Bill.
Good. George did a good job while you were gone.
George did a tremendous job. He's no Bill McQuaid, but he did okay.
Yeah, he was a little hard on Miss Harris yesterday.
He's no Daffy McCallum. Well, I heard Jeb was pretty hard on her the day before, so she's used to it. Yeah.
I got a question.
In fact, she says hard on is Jeb's middle name, but anyway.
Mr. Gore, holding such a high-profile position as vice president of our country for the last 8 years, why do you feel he could not capture a larger percentage of the popular vote, excluding Florida?
Well, what do you mean? He won the popular vote by 300,000 and some odd.
And how many voted in the country?
50%. 101 million.
112 million.
101 million.
Right. And that's a relatively small percentage
50%.
Based on the amount of people that voted. That's almost
what is your point, Bill?
Ball games.
Bill, what is your point? What is the point? What is the point, Bill?
Well, the point is, it's a guy that has that kind of high-profile position, I would assume, would have a larger percentage of the AP votes. And by the way,
of the AP votes? What are the AP votes, Bill?
The popular votes.
The popular votes. Okay, well, have a great life, Bill, and call us again sometime when you want to spew some crap, whatever you're saying.
The Associated Popular Votes.
The AP? The Associated Press popular vote? And, you know, they kept saying Gore's going to speak imminently, and it don't look like Gore. It looks like Wolf Blitzkrieg on there to me. It don't look like anybody that even looks like Al Gore. In fact, then there's Greta von Susteren, Eva von Braun, Jr. When the hell are they going to get with it here? Well, then we got 85, that's right, 85,000 more special reports. If CNN would stop promoting all the stuff that they're going to do and just do it. Isn't that what Nancy Reagan said?
No.
Just do it or something like that. Or like Nike said, just say no to these damn cheap sneakers. Oh, now they're going to a spot. How do you like that? We better do a break because what's his name? Maybe he's speaking any minute. Ray Perry. 10 before 2 at 560. How come he doing more of that AP vote, by the way? You want to check on that during the break?
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560. QAM.
I got 2 sets of lips.
Everybody's talking about Indecision 2000. And now here's your chance to own a piece of history with his musical debut, Al Gore sings Leslie Gore.
It's my party. I'll recount if I want to. Recount if I want to. Recount if I want to. You'd recount too if you thought you would lose. It's gonna be George's turn to cry. George's turn to cry. George's turn to cry. But the Supreme Court's gonna prove for me. That's what I got boys for. That's what David Boys is for. Sunshine State sucks, and I'm not giving up, but I smell something fishy with that little brother.
Yes, it's Al Gore singing all 4 of Leslie Gore's greatest hits. Available now at a courtroom near you.
Hey, double, y'all. I won't give up. Al Gore is here to stay.
Number 1 with 2 bullets. 155 at 560 WQM. Gore's going to speak any second, ain't he?
No.
That's what they keep saying. All I see is Regis on here asking what color is my tie.
Just to walk away.
Yeah. Okay, where are we going here? Is the Lady Mobile in Parkland. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
I just have this to say about that Kathleen Harris. She is a washed-out dish rag.
Yeah.
And I would like to wipe that smirk off of her face. She is repulsive.
She is, you're right.
Anyhow, have a good one.
Thanks. She's subhuman. She's a scumbag. And like Alan Dershowitz said, and of course if he said it, a crook and a piece of crap. I think, isn't that what he said?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, crooked piece of crap. And of course, you know what happens when you have a crooked piece of crap? It hits the water with a tremendous force. That's what Mom says.
What kind of a sound like Jason?
She's even going to be telling me pretty soon what angles they're coming out at. Oh, that was like a 45-degree angle. That was like a right twist and a half. Even Mark Spitz couldn't do that.
So you don't leave any skid marks in her toilet, do you?
From now on. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create a new, it's like a roll-on. It's a skid-on, yeah. You had like band deodorant. This is like a roll-on. You roll it right on the goddamn bowl. Big brown skid marks. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil, what's up?
Oh, yeah, here we go. They're all back. Here's Boca. Hello. Boca.
Oh, is this Neil?
That sounds like me.
Hey, sir, how are you today?
Okay.
Hey, do you remember a little thing called Alien or Alien?
What are you talking about, sir?
The Gonzalez guy?
Yeah, what about him?
Okay, remember how many lawyers came out to...
Yeah, Kendall Coffey and all the other ones. Schmott the Head, yeah.